Just as the tune plays, the cat comes on screen. Hello, everyone. It's Go Live all over again. We about to get sauced. I love the fact that as soon as I had a plan to just sing along, but then the cat came here on the screen and just put me off. But what a glorious Saturday. What a glorious show awaits you. As what's happened in the gaming news? Oh, I don't know. One of the biggest releases in Xbox history, perhaps? Hyperbole? I don't know. You will decide. It's going to be an incredible show. We have incredible guests. We have the incredible Asa, who is smiling, looking less stressed than normal. How are you, Asa? Are you good?
I just want to take a minute to thank Jean's chonky cat for distracting you from singing along to that. So we're off to a great start. I'm really happy about that. I'm good. Let's go.
Oh, you never know what you missed out on. But yeah, no, shout out to Jean's cat, who has been destroying his microphone, and it's just a cute little thing. But shout out to everyone who's there. Shout out to 240 people already here. We're gonna get source. Let's introduce these guests, both of whom have graced us with their presence before, and we are graciously so grateful of their attendance today. In no particular order, it is your favorite pony who once famously sawed his special edition Spider-Man PlayStation 4 in half because he's a man of his word. If anything, he may be a piece of shit, but he is one of the most legit, just one of the most genuine people on here. One of the few PlayStation guys who I would actually take a bullet for. It is Blaze 4K, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Blaze?
You would take a bullet for me, really?
Alhamdulillah, I would definitely promise. Some people I would.
I appreciate it. Good to see everybody. Good to see the chat. We're gonna have a good show. Starfield week. I'm excited. So yeah, let's get to it.
Absolutely. Starfield is predominantly the topic of conversation. Last but certainly not least, we are in some esteemed company. It is a gentleman who, yes, don't shake your head. It's true. And I am very humbled by your presence here. It was me reaching out yesterday. It's not an indication of me spuriously inviting you. It's because your review, everything is premeditated. Your review was doing the rounds. What a few reviews. ACG's and yours, and IGN's Dan Stapleton. 3 reviews that I read. But it is an incredible person, another person who I would gladly take a bullet for. It is Gene Park. Hello, sir.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How's it going? This is Gene Park of the Washington Post. Guests, Asa, thanks so much for giving me your platform for a little bit to talk a lot about Starfield.
Whoa, Reva. Yeah, we've got to get into it pretty much straight away. It has been an insane freaking week. So much drama leading to this moment. So much drama just at the launch and after it, making news in ways we didn't expect. But actually, before we do that, I have to ask you, gents, might be a bit of a moot question, but you never know. You could surprise me. Asa, what have you been playing?
I have been playing a bit of Starfield. I'm having a wonderful disaster run of Starfield where I don't get to see many stars at all because I've kind of soft-locked myself out of the main campaign and I'm just stuck in the wilderness on one particular planet trying to forage for food and build my own civilization. It's not going very well, but I'm having a great time with it. I have been playing with some other things as well. Baldur's Gate 3 is still ongoing and similarly catastrophic. Wait a minute. I might be really bad at these games. I've played quite a lot though.
Maybe.
Oh, and Immortals of Aveum as well. A little bit.
Oh, Immortals of Aveum. Okay. Interesting.
Yikes.
What do you think of that game? Because
Immortals of Aveum is like it's an interesting tech demo for Unreal Engine 5, and it's got like the studio put real focus. All of their resources gone into like building these assets so they can use nanite properly and everything can look really crisp and clean. but they dropped the ball in some really key areas of the gameplay as well. So you can really see that there's areas that they're focused on and done really well, and real noticeable shortfalls. And I'd say ordinarily I'd be fairly forgiving of these shortfalls. Like, I'd cut them some slack, give them some leniency, except that it is a 70 monies game, so you don't really get that leeway when you're charging that much, so it kind of falls short in that regard.
I heard that the dialogue is, "Look out, the Immortals of Aveum is right behind me, isn't it?" Oh no! like very like MCU cringe, like. So
it's Forspoken bad. Okay.
Yeah. It's about Forspoken bad, and I saw people saying, "Well, why aren't people roasting for Immortals of Aveum as much as they are Forspoken?" And I'm like, dude, have you seen the player count for Immortals of Aveum? Like, no one is playing that game long enough to meme on it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, at least people are playing Forspoken, you know.
That's true. It had a lot of freaking hype. It was the big PlayStation timed exclusive, so hence it had a lot of eyes on it. Plus, it had the demo and everything. So, Immortal of Aveum, I didn't even know it came out. So, of course, no one's gonna meme it because hardly anyone's played it. So yeah, but it's bad dialogue. And this is the game that was, if I correct me if I'm wrong, that's running woefully on both current gen consoles, isn't it? On
720p.
Yeah, really low base resolution. But it is. That's why it's an interesting tech demo. I'm not playing it on console, but it's an Unreal Engine 5 game with Lumen and Nanite and Niagara and all of these fancy new features that they're pushing all at once. Pushing probably a bit too hard for those consoles. So I don't actually know what the image quality is, like how good the upscaling is and how distracting that would be if you were playing on console. But I think they are fairly ambitious in their frame rate targets as well. So not all bad in terms of performance, but not a shining example of the future either.
On that point, just before we get into the gents and what games they've been playing, what's your take on this? Because you said, like bad sign, UE5 and current gen consoles, these seem to be struggling quite a bit. Is your view that this is maybe just an unoptimized game, or is this just a sign that, you know, Unreal Engine 5 and the current gen consoles, the current gen consoles aren't fit to run these games? Asa?
No, I wouldn't go that far. So we've seen very, very few examples of what the Unreal Engine is going to do. We've seen a couple of examples that say that if you push everything all at once, they're going to struggle in terms of that base resolution, and that's Remnant and Immortals of Aveum. And you've got Lords of the Fallen is coming out soon, which people have been playing recently and saying that it looks very good despite its lower base resolution target. But you've also got Fortnite as well, which is Epic flexing on what the engine can do on these consoles and the kind of performance profile that you can choose to put out if you want to. So it's not all bad news for the consoles going forwards by any stretch for me.
Oh, okay. And
but wouldn't you say, I mean, if Epic can't get the game running properly at 60 and looking great, and they're the ones that created the engine. Yeah.
But Fortnite does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. No, it's just, I think Unreal, it's melting consoles at this point. But I think with time, it's, you know, I think a lot has to do with talent. Talent matters. And like, you know, and I hate to bring up this game because I'm not even a really big fan of Horizon. But when you see that game running at 60 with multiple different resolution modes and different frame rate modes, it's like you look at other developers and like, what's the excuse, you know? And I get it, it's a first party game and they're going to sit there and optimize it and polish it to a T. But it just makes you wonder, like, you know, what's going on? I know Horizon looks better than this game. It's an open world, and it's, you know, so that's all I'm saying.
I mean, Horizon is a good example, really. That's been in the topic of conversation quite a bit, but we'll talk about that and say Starfield, because that has generated so much discourse. Pretty much how I imagine after playing it. You mentioned what was the other game? Lords of the Fallen. So Colt Eastwood is at PAX East. I think it's PAX East. Yeah.
West.
PAX West. Oh, sorry. Yeah, PAX West. Sorry, he's West Side.
Seattle.
Yeah, and he says, bro, this game, and he's not a massive Soulsborne guy, because this game is amazing. It just looks so good when you die, you know, the weird, you go into the upside down world and everything is crazy. He just says it's a very good game to look out for. So just keep your eye on that. I know a lot of people are hyped for Lords of the Fallen.
I hear it's good too. I'm just like, God damn it, man. Fucking Lords of the Fallen is good too. That's crazy, you know?
Yeah. Well, the first one was very mediocre. So
yeah, it was like okay.
Yeah,
but it was the definition of mid for sure. Yeah.
Right.
I know, we played the first one. Asa, you look really confused there. What happened?
I'm having some weird audio behaviors today, so sorry if you just got a blast of trailer in your ears. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear it?
No, we didn't.
Oh,
You
okay.
didn't hear it. Good.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, no, it was fine. What about you, Blaze 4K? You've been playing a lot of games, and one game which I'm shocked that you've completed 3 times. What have you been playing?
Armored Core. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I beat New Game Plus, so I've seen every ending. I've played a lot of multiplayer. I have like 100 hours. I don't know why people are surprised. Like, oh, how? Like, I'm a Souls guy. This is what I do, and I know it's not a Souls game, but it's From Software, and I really bury my. Listen, my job enables me to take my Steam Deck to work or my PlayStation to work and just game. I don't have to really work. I do IT, and I sit down on a desk and really just game and talk in Discord at night. So that's why people are like, how are you getting all this done? You know, it's like, well, I have home time, you know, and then when I get at work, I have a full 8 hours. So really, my boss doesn't care as long as, you know, I answer the calls. But yeah, Armored Core is incredible. And like I said, I was telling you guys off air, I wanted a review copy for Starfield, which I might still get. I don't know. But like I said, they've given me Scorn, they've given me Redfall, they've given me Gears 5. And I'm like, oh, now they're getting all fancy and bougie because it's the biggest game of the generation, you know, and they don't want to. So I was going to wait. But after seeing, I jumped, dude. And then I'm jumping in Asa's. Dude, Asa is completely lost in that game. I jumped in the stream 3 times.
He wasn't kidding. Wow.
I jumped in the stream 3 times. He's like, oh, this is a fire hydrant. I think I'll take this with me. And he's like dying from these, like zapping. Like, yo, it's really entertaining. You got to watch the stream, bro, playing this game. Dude, he's got $1 million bounty on his head. He cannot leave orbit at all.
Is that what you meant? You are that.
Right. So what's happened? There's no spoilers here. Don't worry if you're really trying to avoid everything about the game. But it's got obviously a mainline campaign that takes you through, and fairly early on, it takes you to like a population center, the first major population center that you go to. And I was just like, oh, I wonder if my mining laser is going to do damage to these like civilians and stuff. So I just shot one a little bit, just tickled him with a mining laser, and everybody has been shooting me ever since. Just tickled him with a laser. It's like it's a mining laser. It's not even a real weapon, and the guards are relentless in that game. So I've tried to get back in my ship and orbit and leave that system, come back to it later when I'm more powerful. But as soon as I go into orbit, level 30 patrol ships are everywhere, and they just blow me up completely straight away. So I can't leave. I've legged out the city. I've leapt over the walls, and I'm just trying to survive in the wilderness. So Starfield is more like there's some lakes and some grass, a little bit of snow, but I'm not seeing the stars anymore. I'm not allowed out there.
That is so crazy to me that you could do that and that can happen to you. It speaks to what is really a Bethesda RPG. And I remember something like this happening to me in I'm not sure it was Skyrim or it was Elder Scrolls. It was like, and that is kind of hilarious. I need to watch your stream because that's freaking. So what, Blaze? You ended up buying the game?
Yeah. So I'm playing it on the Series X just because I know I'm eventually going to switch to PC. You know what I mean? I don't invest all this money into a PC not to use it. You know what I mean? And I will say, you know, I'm not making excuses. 30 FPS is 30 FPS, but it is smooth. It's not not dropping. I think I had one experience. I think it was in right when I got to the major city. I forgot what, Atlantis or something. But
Atlantis, yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it's very stable 30 FPS, very stable. You know, so it's unfortunate. I know people say this is a new standard going forward, but I said this to people. Guys, don't expect 60 FPS as a standard because as these games get more demanding, developers are going to want to push the envelope again. It's just it's a never-ending cycle of, you know, rinse and repeat. You know, good graphics. Yeah. Then you finally the hardware finally catches up, and then you get the good frame rate, then the good graphics. You know, so it is what it is. But
and we'll talk about the what each one of us thinks about the visuals as well, and the constituent parts of this game. So yeah, you've been playing that quite a bit, so that's interesting. What about you? As soon as I asked, what about you, G?
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, it's so cute, man. Just cats are too much.
It's Garfield and Starfield, yeah.
You gave Stray a 10 out of 10. That was you, right?
I gave it a 4 out of 4, but yeah.
No,
and the reason why is that like I try to be consistent with my reviews, and like really, I wish I didn't have to give a score just to get on the Metacritic, because like I spent like the first third of the review complaining about shit too. But the reason why I gave it 4 out of 4 is because I gave Final Fantasy 16 3.5. So I'm like, I like this better than Final Fantasy 16. So why shouldn't I just give it a 4? That's just trying to be consistent with my own like internal metric, you know.
Yeah. I think this is the thing with people conflate their understanding of or association with a score with what they would give it. So if they see your 4 out of 4, which is basically translates to a perfect score on Metacritic, they're fine with it. And then they found this so many times, which is why I don't even bother. I don't put scores in my reviews. I posted my written review. Wouldn't dare give it a score. People in chat probably would be surprised at what my actual number would be in my head. But I'm not going to give that score because it will just completely derail the conversation. Your review is very well written, though, and I don't make the mistake of getting hung up on numbers. But we'll talk about the reviews generally. Metacritic.
We'll talk about numbers.
Let's talk about numbers. So, Starfield is this big game that had a lot of pressure on it. Because, well, it's really Xbox's fault. Xbox has failed. Let's be real, to deliver that definitive exclusive that kind of shuts down the narrative. You've got your Forza Horizon at 90 plus. You had Halo Infinite, didn't really do anything. Was good at launch, but then it suffered.
Redfall didn't help it either.
Redfall was atrocious, absolute embarrassment for Xbox, coming in at God knows 50-something Metacritic. Now you've got Bethesda got lumped in with that. So not only have you got Bethesda's legacy, which is incredible, but marred by Fallout 76 that raised so many questions about this studio. This studio is screwed now. This is it. Todd Howard is a liar. He can't deliver on these games. Combine that with the ambitious scope of what Bethesda were trying to do, or have, let's see, we'll decide whether they have attained those lofty ambitions with Starfield. It sounded too good to be true. The scope was too broad. Lots of alarm bells ringing for people. And a lot of people, including myself, said that this game needs to be a 90 plus Metacritic. And in fact, in my predictions, I said I'll lock it in 91 Metacritic because everything looked impressive. It didn't hit that. So the current Metacritic on Xbox is 87, on PC is 88. So 87 for the platform. And we did say it. If it was going to be a few points below 90, it's going to be perceived as a failure, or by some camps. Failure is a strong word, but people in the console wars will perpetuate that. I completely understand that view. And people will get hung up on that review. We knew there would be some publications who would score it low and get absolutely destroyed by it. And then IGN's Dan Stapleton is that one guy who's the central focus of it. But quite interestingly, GameSpot and IGN both gave this game a 7 out of 10.
You don't think they talk to each other on the phone?
Collusion.
And PC Gamer.
Like the American election, just collusion. Everybody.
You don't think he hit him? Hey, would you give it? You're giving it a 7, really?
Yeah, fuck. Well,
what's funny? It's funny that you say that, dude. Is because reviewers talk to each other.
Absolutely.
Right? So, yeah.
100% they do.
That might not be out of pocket, honestly. I'm not saying that's true or whatever, but I wasn't really talking to other reviewers. I was talking to I wasn't talking to anyone really. But then eventually, when I got hit up by some reviewers, they're like, "Yeah, I'm hearing that it's not that good." I'm just like, "Wow, really? That's crazy." Okay. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I made a whole Twitter thread about how I wasn't really sure about the game. I didn't really say I disliked it, but at the beginning, in the first few hours, I was like, "I'm not really sure how I'm really feeling about the game." So I get that. But towards the end, I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that people didn't like it."
Can we stop this narrative that games don't hit 90? And I don't know if it's a Nintendo, PlayStation thing. And if you've noticed, it's been harder and harder to see games hit 90. I know the core staples always end up hitting the Forza Horizons, The Last of Us, let's say, or Zelda, whatever. But an 88, 87 is a great game. We're talking about points.
Final Fantasy hit that too,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ghost has an 86 or something.
83.
Yeah.
which is why I was OT. Shout out to OT from the stables. He's been going hard at this because he said if it's 90, we're gonna back away. He said this to me, but if it's not a 90, it was 87. He has been full force like it's a 77. And I said, hold on, OT, isn't your game of the generation Ghost of Tsushima? And it's an 83 Metacritic. He goes, yeah, that's fine, but let's ignore that. Let me carry on Console Warrior. I said, fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Nier Automata is my 4th best game of all time, and it's at 88 on Metacritic. You know, I put that above every other game, almost every other game. You know,
I've liked some of my worst games. I mean, Days Gone, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Like, go look at Ghost Recon Breakpoint's Metacritic score, and I absolutely love that game. And I think it's maybe over a 70, maybe. So It's just when it fits the narrative, people want to use the score. And yeah, I've been there too. I've used it against Xbox guys. I'm not gonna lie, but it's all fun and games. But really, it's all subjective. If you enjoy the game, that's all that should fucking matter.
Absolutely,
preach.
Absolutely, no, don't worry about your language. We love it. But no, it is true. It gets weaponized, and that's to me absolutely fine. But I'll be honest with you, 87 to 88 meta. I think that's absolutely fair for this game. Because and you're absolutely right about this thing. Reviewers do talk about it. I kind of knew already what IGN were going to give it before the reviews were released because the murmurs had spread internally, even down to me. I have no connection.
Dude, this was like the leakiest game, dude. People couldn't shut the fuck up about this game.
Bro, I tried so hard to shut the fuck up about this game and I couldn't. But I think I did a good job because I was itching to talk about some of the visual stuff. Like, I'm perplexed and still perpetuate the bullshit, which is so much bullshit I have to cut through. I'm working on a video to shut the fucking haters up about the visuals of this game. Well, it's not all haters. Even David Jaffe made a video saying this game is ugly. And in my review, I call it visually inconsistent, but ugly. David Jaffe, I'm coming for you. But no, I mean, but it takes on it. But
ugly, no way.
I don't know what the fuck people are talking about.
They're playing on 720p security monitors. I don't understand that at all.
Bro, the global illumination in this game.
The lighting is the most impressive.
Lighting elevates what would normally be a pretty sparse, bland-looking game to something that is incredible to me. I keep going in photo mode. Just taking pictures. And not even just, like, I'll make a video, it's not in photo mode, but it's just the photos don't even do it justice. The kind of depth you get, it makes so much of a difference. Lighting makes such a big difference. I want global illumination like this in all Bethesda's games, in all games. And that's the reason why that this game is 30 on Series X and Series S. And it should be, because I would never, I said this in my review, Todd Howard and company should never have even thought about forsaking global illumination as an option. Fuck that option. If someone says, oh no, I want performance from Nana.
It brings so much, adds so much to the scenery. And Asa would agree with me, the sound design is excellent as well. Excellent.
I love the sound design. There's a part right near the start where there's these like plastic flaps hanging from the ceiling, and I'm just like, what? Going through them for a good 20 minutes just listening, because they've got that positional sound down so well. Every little creature you can be like, oh, a ship's just gone past in that direction. There's a bug over there. There's a thing there. I can do that, and it's really, really, really good quality sound.
Wait,
and
so
I'm not
Xbox
just talking about liking or disliking the music.
Yes, you notice also the lighting of the planets. When you land on the planet and you land on the dark side of the planet on the galaxy map, it's nighttime on that side, and if you land on the other side, it'll be daytime. So the global illumination is actually matching the orbit of the planet around whatever sun that's in the system. That's crazy to me.
They have put that was kind of attention to detail is quite surprising. Before we go into breaking into those individuals, because we were kind of talking about it, and before we talk about, I want to talk about IGN Dan Stapleton, just to add a little bit of sauce, but also some reasonableness, and also super chats here. By the way, Jimmy Yandel, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He goes, have you seen Naruto X Boruto Ninja Storm? If you're on Series X, you can block all Series S players from playing with you, so you don't have to play at 30 frames for the online part of the game. I did not know that, and that is pretty significant if that is true, that they're doing that. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, Jimmy, but thank you for bringing that to our attention, because I think that is worth covering. Quite interesting. particularly when we're talking about the parity clause, and Microsoft they carved out this exception for co-op. So now Baldur's Gate is coming to Xbox very soon. Actually, it might be just a couple of weeks after the PlayStation release, which is on the 6th of September, which I hear is Blaze's birthday.
Oh, God.
Happy birthday. I can't stop. But yeah, I will remember to sing a Marilyn Monroe style song to you.
I'll send you my Cash App. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, speaking of cash and credits, I'm giving away Starfield code because it came with these. Oh, bros, this. Look, I don't give a shit usually about collector's edition stuff, but look at this. Is a sexy beast.
Well built, dude. It looks so well built.
It's so nice, and you just like, so nice. It was worth it. It was worth the money. And this came with it, so it's got a code here, and I'm gonna randomly during the show just paste it out there. Oh, there it is. Can I just slight question? In the future, credits, these kinds of credits in Starfield, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why would it? I know it's a game, but in the future, would we really have credits on a physical base, like, and this is a pretty meaty metal thing, which it feels like in the game? I don't think so. I think everything would be linked to your biometrics. This is a weird thing. I'll be quiet about that. BT Maverick 707 with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Goes, anyone else seen Dan Stapleton cuss out people on Twitter like a respected IGN journalist? He was going at it with Tim Dog of all people. Like, did you see him? Oh, that altercation was fucking hilarious, man. I also saw you and Dan touching tips. Talk to us, yeah. Gene. What's your take on this madness that's happening?
Man, people are crazy about the reviews. Both sides, and I'm not getting it nearly as bad as Dan. It's funny to see the GameSpot guy like just pretty much fly under the radar because Dan is kind of drawing attention to himself by talking about this, and I get it. Yeah. I've been in the eye of the storm before, and sometimes when you have all the pressure on you, you will spiral. We're just human,
Yeah.
So that's why, I've had friends text me or message me and say, "Hey, Gene, I think you want to just calm down, just log off and go about your day." And I'm like, you know what, you're right, And I think someone needs to do that for poor Dan too. That's why that's why I told him hey, Dan, I really liked your review, and I meant what I said. I actually, out of the 2 7s, GameSpot and IGN, I think the GameSpot one is crazy. Actually, if I was going to rate the one, I think the GameSpot one was out of pocket. The IGN one, when you read the IGN one, he's actually saying all the things that people are saying on the subreddit right now, where they're like, oh, it's just a lot of menus and blah blah blah, it's not seamless, and I don't know what to do or where to go, blah blah. The GameSpot one, talking about the story and how the story didn't mean anything, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I felt like the story was excellent, and this is easily the best written Bethesda story ever. But I guess going back to Dan, even me last night, people were trying to ratio me, talk about how I liked the game, and they were like, look at him, he didn't like the game at first, but then he had to convince himself that he liked the game. I was like, I didn't convince myself, I just fucking liked the game as I played it more. I played more of the game, I liked it more. I don't know, it doesn't get much more deeper than that. There's no conspiracy of oh, I'm trying to give Bethesda a chance. I have to do this. I had to twist myself, the mental gymnastics of my brain to give them a 4 out of 4. And then, and I would get comments like, you should be ashamed.
Performance target on how much you have to like it. I'm not going to make it. I've got to try harder.
You should be ashamed of liking a Bethesda game. That's what I'm hearing. And so people are crazy right now. That's why I call it Starfield derangement syndrome. And that's off of the Trump derangement syndrome. Because I live in Washington, D.C., and I've seen Trump derangement syndrome. This is similar.
Yeah, I'm seeing all kinds on both sides. A bit mad.
It's both sides. People are insane about this game. So
it's insane. Bro.
And I'm tired of seeing all over the timeline, man. His fucking cartoon mug and everything like that, and they're like, look at and him dressed up as fucking Kratos,
which is really, really please send this guy that axe was just pathetic. Can you get like like what is he doing? Like that looked like a dollar store outfit. Like I really felt for the guy. But a 7 is out of pocket for real. IGN is giving worse games higher scores than the 7.
That's true.
Bro, this is the thing. And I'm making a source video. I'm sorry, IGN's Dan Stapleton, but you have featured in my source videos before, and his Bethesda takes made me side-eye a little bit. Like, he was anti-consolidation, and he's got loads of fucking receipts. And on those receipts, I see he stays pretty mum. When people bring up these receipts, he kind of shuts up. But he tackles the other points there. And his other reviews where Watchdog Legion scores higher or some other fucking game score higher.
I didn't know that. Wow.
That's just ridiculous,
bro, there are some freaking mad. Where's my source receipts folder?
Watchdog Legions was
garbage.
If you enjoyed it,
does he give out 8 out of 10?
My thing with that though is like reviews. Yes, you use that score to kind of compare games to each other, but it doesn't work. Like review scores are woefully inadequate as a way to judge games because games are too big and too complicated. So you look at a game like Starfield and it does so much. It does so much well that you could, if your philosophy is to look at review and like throw points at things that are done well, then you could give it like 100 points out of 10. Whereas you take like the opposite philosophy, where you look at a game like that and you try and consider the flaws, and you go, right, I'm going to start from a high point, but I'm going to, like, you can't give a 10 to a game that's got flaws in it. So for every flaw, I'm going to take away a little bit of my review score. Then because the game is so big and wide in scope, you can end up on a like minus 40 or something ridiculous like that. And you compare a game like Starfield, does so much, to a game like, I'm going to use Hades because I adore Hades. Hades is a brilliant game, but in scope and scale and what it does, it's that big compared to Starfield. So you get a game like that that's excellent throughout and feels brilliant. Does that mean that it deserves a better score than Starfield because the experience is like perfect the whole time you're playing it, when it's doing so much less? And there's not a correct answer to that question. Just scoring reviews on a scale out of like 4 or 5 or 10 or 100, it just doesn't work or make sense. So personally, like I don't buy into the aggression at these people that are giving it a low score, even if you don't like the way that they've reviewed it. Like Gene said, I've not read Dan Stapleton's review, but Gene has, and Gene said that the criticisms were actually probably pretty reasonable. And how you score it is like, well, that's a dumbass idea to score them anyway, but our industry is so caught up on it.
They give Exoprimal an 8. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
it's a good game for this genre. But his reviews,
both sides gave Deathloop a 10, which I think is like the most overrated game of this generation.
Why is Deathloop on a 10? Why does it?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I played Deathloop and I was like, what the fuck is this game? I was like, this game fucking sucks. You know,
it's one of those.
So that's why when Redfall came out, I was like, like no shit, Deathloop fucking sucked too. You know?
Yeah.
I think Arcane is a little overrated, bro. You know? I think people put them on a pedestal too much. They made Prey. Prey was excellent. That's it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it is. I think a lot of people are just I don't know what it is about Arcane. They never really hit it for me. Dishonored was good actually, but I never completed it. But that's why I can't speak definitively about it. But Deathloop was always odd. I bought it on Xbox and PC, and I just never completed it. Dan Stapleton hasn't helped as well with his comments previously. It's like Xbox is a great way to play Xbox. That's what Xbox officially tweeted, and he retweeted is also the worst way to play Xbox, and he dives into that. Like, you didn't need to do that. Your IGN. This is the thing that comes with IGN, and I've always said, like, you know, they're human. Destin Legary, in my opinion, is squarely Xbox biased, but you get.
Oh boy, is he?
You don't think he is?
Oh no, he is.
Oh yeah, he definitely is. His whole channel's built on
he is for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. You'll get these camps. GameSpot, if you know their history, GameSpot, in my opinion, have ridiculously PlayStation bias. You had an expose where basically agreed with Sony to like. What was that thing where they basically scored a game low because them and Sony fuck constantly? They're banging each other constantly. You need to side-eye GameSpot's review. They are fucking each other constantly. Mad, raw sex, no freaking condom.
You sure? Give me some examples, guys.
I need to give you some proper examples. They have a long history. There's someone in chat will know. There's a whole. I think it was Little Big Planet that was the center of this facade, and it was exposed that Sony will then withhold or they're upset at a critical review, and then they had a rapport.
Wouldn't you
with
say
them.
everybody's biased though? Like everybody's gonna have some sort of
Absolutely.
as long as you're cool, you're not being an asshole about it. I feel like you can be biased. Like, I really like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. That's why, it's just, nostalgia or whatever comes into play at that point. I think everybody's biased, but I really truly believe that.
But in terms, absolutely, that I agree with you. But in terms of publications and their known bias, it's actually not, I think, public, but it's well known really now that IGN and Xbox, they've kind of parted ways. Microsoft are not relying that heavily on IGN. You can't ignore IGN; it's a behemoth anyway. Even at Gamescom, they had this glass cabinet relegated to them to do like this incredible, and Phil Spencer was there, did a review. But we're hearing, actually, I've heard firsthand, like there's a bit of tension there with these things. So you're going to get biases there. IGN generally have been console warring a certain way, but then you've got all these individuals. It's going to be a thing. Dan Stapleton's biggest mistake was, in my opinion, and it's a human response, is tackling constantly responding to justify your opinion. In his head, he believes he's justified. Hence why and I've been there. So like, shut the fuck up, man. No, I believe.
Slight parallel topic, guys. I've got a question for you then. So if these outlets are like against Microsoft or perceived to have this bias or whatever, do you think that Microsoft should be like finessing who gets these review codes to help themselves out and help these Metacritic scores, or do you think that they should be throwing them everywhere? Because that's been a topic, like people have been wondering if Microsoft have been holding back codes from outlets that they think are going to give them lower scores.
It's up to them. I say this as someone in the media. It's up to the company how they want to do it. That's it. If Xbox or Nintendo or whatever wants to stop sending it to the Washington Post, what am I going to do about it? This isn't the government.
If you were them, if you were Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation, and you had made a great game and you wanted it to do well in the market, would you be quite careful about who you were sending that code to?
Of course, because that is the goal. That is the explicit goal of the entire field of public relations. Public relations isn't really about spin or misinformation. Public relations is about the control of how the brand is talked about.
Absolutely,
That's it.
But that doesn't mean it's the morally right decision.
But does that undermine the value of those reviews in the first place? Like, are these scores worth anything at that point?
That too.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah. So we heard this week that the likes of Metro, Eurogamer, and a few others, pretty big ones, didn't. SkillUp is a big YouTuber. He didn't get a review code for it. And of all of those, Eurogamer, I thought was.
SkillUp didn't get a review code?
I don't think he did. But
SkillUp did not. Yeah. If I was talking to a reviewer, it would have been SkillUp, because SkillUp and I always trade notes on like every big game.
That is nuts.
But this one, he was completely out of it. He was like, "How's Starfield?" I was like, "Yeah, it's cool, I guess."
That is ridiculous.
It's crazy that Skill didn't get one.
But SkillUp has made some this is where Metro fucking docked points for Horizon Forbidden West because it came out on Xbox. So one of the cons is like, Xbox has shit games. It was in their list of cons. And I remember the thing. I was like, what the fuck? Who is doing the review at Metro? This is fucking stupid.
Some people just don't deserve it.
But then again, I still maintain it's tricky, because whilst Gene is absolutely correct, it's a PR exercise. If I'm Microsoft, I'll carefully vet like this prick said this shit. I don't agree with this Metro review. Fuck that guy getting that game. We've worked for 5, 10, God knows how many years, and we're gonna get some prick. No, actually, I'm gonna say prick. It's not aimed at anyone, but this is my internal monologue or a dialogue in our roundtable of
the
like
royal
Illuminati.
prick. The royal prick.
The royal prick. Like, this prick is not getting the game. We worked way too hard. This guy's an absolute arsehole anyway, and we're gonna give him the game. He's gonna dock it for no reason. Because
I do get that though. You invest all that time and resources and meetings and like just to give it to Gaz, and he's like, Halo Infinite just not where it needs to be. Like, no wonder why they blackballed you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Weird, though. Like, what the fuck is Merit Station? I don't know.
What the fuck is Merit Station?
What the fuck is a Merit Station? I don't know what that is. I don't know who they are. I don't know what country they're from. What is that? But then they got a copy too. So
and they're not getting any copies in the future. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. They're not gonna get fucking anything.
What's that the PlayStation guy that shits on Survivor? What the hell is it?
Survivor. Yeah. So that was the other
Steviver.
He'll never get another code,
bro.
He'll never get one. He'll never get one.
Didn't get some PlayStation stuff as well.
I have a theory on why Starfield reviewed the way it did. If you guys want to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to know.
Yeah, as someone who was in the review process and who was talking to other people and finally reading all the reviews, Polygon, which is also negative, GameSpot, IGN, I feel like it's more of a bias against this big game, and part of it is that when you try to play this game and you got 2 weeks to do it, you're trying to do every feature. You're like, oh my god. So like you land on New Atlantis and they're telling you about fucking shipbuilding, they're telling you about fucking outpost building, they're telling you about the faction, they're telling you about all this. And then like I started to get really, really overwhelmed at the beginning of the game. So I started to do shipbuilding, outpost building. I was like, I don't understand any of this. I wasn't really having fun, right?
Yeah.
That's where like the 7 or whatever 6 feeling really, really settled in. It wasn't until I decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to stop trying to review this game like a list of features in a car or a computer. You know, this isn't a 490 graphics card where I have to list all the features. Why am I going to list all the features? Everyone's going to be playing the fucking game later that night anyways, right? So as soon as the game comes out, my list of features review would be outdated, right? Mm-hmm. So I started to focus, let me just play the game like I normally would, which is again starting the main quest, which is what I did, because I tried to do it like a Bethesda game, where it's like, oh, I got to do all the side quests first, right, before I do the main quest. That's the best way to play it, right? But I was like, no. I when I review games, I like to do the main quest first. I like to roll the credits. I want to see what the actual main experience was supposed to be like, and I fucking loved it afterwards. All right,
exactly.
I love the game. As soon as I rolled credits, I was like, I actually love this game. No, it's different. It's doing something different.
Same thing happened to me.
And I still have no idea how to do shipbuilding or any of that crap. You know, I've only done 1 or 2 factions. You know,
I was the same.
I think that's my theory. That it's like when you try to review everything in the game, that's why you hear this line in a lot of the reviews. And this is such a cliche line because they said this about Skyrim too. But it's like it's very wide but not deep. You know, and it's like, you know what?
Reminds me of X.
That's wrong.
Bro, you stole that from me, bro. Holy wow.
Yeah, it's wrong because I'm like, you know, I'm watching Andy Cortez on Kind of Funny, and he just like deeply like building the ship. He loves that game, right? But all he's doing is building ships, and he loves that part. And it's crazy. Super deep. So you can't call this game not deep because
I feel like you could burn yourself out. Like what he's saying, like you start doing side mission, and then you're like, dude, I haven't even tackled the main game yet, and like you know you're on a time constraint, and,
exactly,
you know,
so it doesn't become a pleasant experience that way. So that it affects your mood, it affects your feeling about the game.
Same thing about trophy hunting. Like, dude, every time I end up getting a platinum, I'm like, wow, I never want to touch this game again. Because it's like you know, platinums are like becoming, or achievements, whatever, like they become like whoever has the most time, I feel like gets the most platinums. Because like if you have a life, a wife and kids and a job, it's like how the, you know, but anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right about, and I think so Dan Stapleton and the IGN lot created a Twitter Spaces, and if you go and listen to that, it seemed like
I didn't listen to that. What happened there? Yeah. What went on there?
That's where everyone were. I skipped to some bits. I'm listening to him, and I agree with everyone's assessment of the way he handled that. He seemed unsure of his own review. And everything that you've just said, Gene, indicates that that's how Dan Stapleton played the game. Because he it's like almost like a checklist exercise. I need to play this. I need to play this. Need to play it. And I did the exact same thing you did. I was like, no, wait. How would I fuck? Everyone's going to get reviews anyway. I've waited years for this game. I'm not going to do this and just do a review that hardly anyone's going to. I'm just going to fucking play the game the way I want to play the game. And I mainlined the story, which incidentally, so many people asked me this question, and it's interesting that everyone, you agreed, Tom Warren agreed, Cole,
Greg Miller is out saying that right now too. He's blabbing his mouth about New Game Plus this morning. I was like, what the fuck, Greg? Like,
exactly. This is the thing. The best way to play this game, in our opinions, in your opinion, and all these gents' opinions,
like I am, let the guards dictate where you're allowed to go and just push on.
And thank fuck that Asa didn't do a review because he can't even leave the freaking planet for 2 weeks. But it is to mainline the game and New Game Plus it. and I won't give two spoilers. A lot of people ask why, and I'm like, there's a reason. This is the way the story plays out as well. But ultimately, you can still do all the side quests. And I put this disclaimer in my review. I said, listen, I played this game mainlining majority of the quests. Sampled a bit of side stuff, which I kind of got an idea. But read that disclaimer, because I don't know what the side quests are. Today, or last night, I'm doing one of the factions missions, which is the Crimson Fleet. That freaking quest line is huge. It's just like, yo, it took me to another base, another freaking shindig party and everything. No spoilers too much, but it's like, this is fucking like a mainline quest. There's so much investment in there. And a lot of people might not even come across that based on their decisions.
Yeah, can I ask you a question about, I think I seen you posted a picture. It was like, you had like X amount of hours with no achievements.
Oh yeah,
I've had games early, like a PlayStation game early, like, or even on Steam, and like they gotta fix that. That's a little unfair, though. I know it don't matter; it's just an imaginary achievement, but
it
still,
didn't pop
like,
for you the achievements, because as soon as the game went live for me, and I was playing it, I kept getting achievements, bloom, 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 bloom.
Oh, you lucky shit!
So the Xbox was recording all my achievements that I achieved in the last 2 weeks. So I don't know. Something must be. Are you playing on Xbox or PC?
Yeah, Xbox. And on Xbox, me, Rand, and Colt, none of our achievements popped. And then went back to an older save to do some of the things, and they popped. Well, when I went to like level 50, whatever, level 27 or 28 or maybe level 30, then the level 5 and level 10 achievement, whatever, they popped. And I'm like, oh, so just after it went live or the early release, then they activated achievements. It wasn't even showing up. So I was like, oh man. So I've done so much in the game. Like,
that's a bug, yeah, because I was playing when it went live at 9 p.m. and then like I started getting all achievements. It was like fireworks. I was like, what did I do? I was like, oh, okay, that's right. It's just catching up.
Bethesda, give me those achievements.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it depends on how people play the game. And the game is so deep, but there are some fundamental, in my opinion, fundamental flaws with Starfield. And we're going to talk about that very shortly. But before we do, let me read these super chats. Hello there with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Because been playing Game Pass on GeForce Now. Check out Acer's video on GeForce Now, by the way. It's insane. It's definitely
the best streaming service ever.
Yeah. Acer's video says that as well. Like, it is the best streaming service ever. And Hello there says, if Xbox truly won the power narrative, I hope a next-gen NVIDIA move was negotiated into their agreement. It's an interesting take. But check out Acer's video on GeForce Now. It looks insane based on your video. Just the lack of compression on what you would associate with streaming.
And that's doubly compressed. So that's so the video is just a little video on my channel showing some of the footage just to show how good a quality you can achieve. But you have to bear in mind, I've not just streamed it and recorded it. I stream things, I record things very nicely, but I've then put it on YouTube. So you've got YouTube's compression on top of it. But look at it on a good screen and tell me it's not like incredible, because it's such a good service. And shout out to YouTube for being good as well.
And there's packages, right? $20 package, and depending on how much you pay, they'll allocate to a different.
You're trying to steal my customers. Remember, code Acer is a shill. You'll get your 0% discount. Do it now. Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah, no, honestly, I will definitely sign up to that, another subscription, but definitely seems worth it. And I'm definitely going to get an Asus Rogue Ally, because the Steam Deck's not getting any love. Shout out to 635 in chat. Smash that like button. I see Strictly Gaming in the chat. Shout out to you. Long time, man.
Strick.
Shout out to Strick. Black Cobra with a $5 super chat. I did not know the guy who gave us Starfield a 7 is the same guy that gave Duke Nukem Forever and Rage an 8. Just how? I mean, that's not so bad. Like, my review would actually, if I should I even tell? I'm not going to give you the score, because fuck it. Because people are like, oh, guys, how could you give it that score? But I do think it's justified. And just an earlier point about reviews talking, me, Rand, Colt, Jez, we were like, there was a point like, what's going on with this game? Like, there's some bits like we don't agree. And then afterwards, like, yeah, it was such a roller coaster ride. It's like, yo, you need to do this. You need to do this. To check this out. And then when I got there, like, yo, this is fucking crazy. This is wicked. This is amazing. It was such a roller coaster ride. I do think Starfield will be. Well, tell me, Gene, do you agree with me that Starfield? Do you think Starfield actually will be nominated or in the conversation for Game of the Year?
I think it should. I don't know about other folks, but I think it's easily up there. I like it better than Final Fantasy 16 again. So
yeah,
I would consider it. I think it's a better story than Final Fantasy 16. I think it's a better game than Final Fantasy 16. I think it should be up there. Do I think it should win? Probably not, actually. I still think Baldur's Gate, and I've only played 5 hours Baldur's Gate 3, but those 5 hours I could smell and feel the quality throughout the game, and just like, man, this fucking so unless it really shits the bed in Act 3, which I hear it's really really buggy at Act 3, so that's why it's kind of why I'm waiting.
Just gonna say I've heard the same that the opening of the game, I've not got that far through it yet, and it's phenomenal. I love the game where I've got so far, but like I say, I'm having another kind of disaster run. It's taken me a while to crawl through, but the game was in early access on PC for like 2 years, so a lot of people were playing and testing the opening act, and then certain things apparently do drop a fair amount where it's been less played and less tested, like the less trodden road gets a bit rougher later on. So it'll be interesting to see how that one fares. I haven't got there yet, but I do love Baldur's Gate 3 as well.
yeah So I do think it's up there, Tears, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield. I think that's a sit. Hi-Fi Rush. I think Hi-Fi Rush should be in there too.
Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like, this is such a fucking packed year for gaming. Blaze, what would you think? Do you think this? I know it's very early. You haven't completed the game. Do you think this, based on everything you've seen, this should be in the runnings for Game of the Year?
For the runnings, absolutely. Game of the Year, I can't see. A lot of people are already discredited it. Like, sorry, it's an 87. It can never be Game of the Year now. And I've been seeing a lot of that, which is pretty. Yeah, it's a stacked year. That's the problem. Will it be in the running? Yes. I think everybody's gonna lose, unfortunately, to probably Zelda or Baldur's Gate or something like that. But absolutely, it deserves it. Absolutely.
Everyone seems to think that Zelda's got it in a lot because of that, quote unquote Nintendo bias. But if you really talk to the reviewers, everyone's feeling Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 has the bias right now.
I think so too.
It's leaning heavily towards Baldur's Gate 3.
I think
if Zelda wins, I'd be shocked.
I think Zelda can't win.
I'm a Zelda
and I love
fan,
Zelda as well.
But like I would be shocked if Zelda wins. So.
I'll be too, because I think there'll be a lot of noise. I think it's been done before. Yes, it's very different to Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom is
Breath of the Wild. I love Tears of the Kingdom, but Breath of the Wild was a template, So like we already gave Breath of the Wild its flowers back in 2017.
Exactly.
Would you be saying exactly that if Baldur's Gate didn't exist and we're having this conversation between Starfield and Tears of the Kingdom?
No,
the Tears will win that easily. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If Baldur's Gate wasn't in the conversation, then Tears is an easy win for sure. So.
Oh, okay. I think it'll be it would push this. I think Starfield, a lot like Fallout 4, but a little bit more generously. I think Starfield will be regarded as a classic RPG of this generation. It's going to be one. It's been divisive in many ways. Yes, it's positive. Yes, it's 87. But in the long run, I don't think people, aside from console wars, they will view this game. It's an incredible game. It's an incredible RPG, and Bethesda have quite definitively, in my opinion, shut down the narrative about them not being good enough after Fallout 76, blah, blah, blah. That it has died. By the way, in chat, I've put the code in there, so good luck. It was on this thing. I was typed it up. Tell me who won it, or who claimed it. That'd be nice. They never do, though.
I see people saying Hogwarts Legacy. No, dude, Hogwarts Legacy has no chance, bro.
Oh, fucking forgot
there's a bias. Oh, yeah, dude, forgot about all, that's another game.
One, there's already a bias against it. Two, that game left the discourse immediately, bro. Look at the completion rate. No one's finishing that game right now.
No, I'm one of them.
I played it too. I got bored. I bounced out.
Same. I deleted it off my hard drive. Not that it was a bad game, but it was just like, okay, it's Harry Potter, but
it's not. It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game. Stretch, but there's just so much more going on and so much more unique than what Hogwarts offered. So
yeah, definitely agree with that. Shout out to 660. Smash that like button. I want to talk about visuals for this game. Starfield, man, to me is beautiful. That's the conversation. Okay, fuck that. I mean, how many times I'm going to talk about it? It's going to be subjective. People are going to say global illumination, blah, blah, blah. We've already sucked it off on that point. But this is where my problem lies with Starfield. and why it cannot be in the conversation for game of the generation, why it's precluded from that. I mentioned this in my review as well. The biggest complaint, and this is such a valid complaint, is the over-reliance on menus in this game. Loading screens and menus. It's such a fundamental point in a space. Look, it's not a space exploration space sim, but you cannot tackle this whole point and mention the supplementary stuff that you angled was about space exploration, ship combat. You've got all of that and maneuverability, and you go in and see the stars, but have what is a very poor system that doesn't even tap into so many opportunities for just hitting those sci-fi tropes. I mentioned in my review about the docking element, which will be my video review should be up tomorrow, by the way. It's been a mad week, but it'll be up tomorrow. Like the docking thing, like that should have been a manual affair. You may think it's cumbersome, but it's such a sci-fi trope. In the game, if you do manually dock, even the NPC will like, oh, woo, successful docking there. I'm like, well, Ace hasn't experienced that because he hasn't even left a planet yet. But when you do dock stations and stuff, it's like, oh. And I'm like, what the fuck? That is such a big, like, Interstellar, and the thing was spinning. Why do you think 2001 Space Odyssey was... There's something about human endeavor into space, about the mechanics of what we build to enable us to go into space. That's why 2001 Space Odyssey, if you watch that movie, the fucking landing scene, it takes 5 minutes of the ship just going down. These are key sci-fi tropes. Why do you think Elite Dangerous even exists? The whole game is based on space exploration, and people still love it, including me. I reinstalled it yesterday just for the purposes of this review. The game never makes you feel the vastness of space. If you relegate it to menus, you will never feel that. Even when you jump into a
grav
drive in. The grav drive even isn't that handled that well. Like, it's just such a key sci-fi trope that when you come in, you should feel it. And Elite Dangerous does it beautifully. You feel the rattle of the ship. There's a frame shift drive charging. That is like goes in, and you see the visceral feel. Whereas with Starfield, it just goes into a third-person mode. Sometimes it's first-person, and just goes
little Destiny
mini
loading screen. Yeah, listen, loading screen. Can I just say, I feel like definitely there was some missed opportunities here for them to like really, go a little bit extra to go all out, because like people bring up No Man's Sky, and I hate to bring up the elephant in the room, but like it really is a cool feeling getting into like orbit, and you're getting to the atmosphere, and you're driving through clouds, and you land, and it's like it's amazing, it's incredible. Feeling. It's just little things like that. I just want to say my few negatives, and even Asa brought it up when I was watching. I was surprised no one's really talking about this, or maybe they are, but I don't pay attention to the bullshit. In sand, in like deep sand or deep snow, there should be a footprint. I'm not asking for much. I'm talking about basic, no footprints, guys, zero.
A couple feet, they don't have to stay forever. Think that
just a little bit. I'm not asking for snow. Like I'm not asking for snow deformation, bro. I'm just asking for a footprint.
I am. Every game with snow has to pass that snow test.
Deformation, right?
You know why? Because when you think about it, why is a footprint important? Because you're on this planet maybe for the first time, and you've left your print there. It's just
that's such a big point. That is a fundamental point. People are like, oh, what? Are we talking footprints now? You don't understand. The whole intrigue about being in a planet is that first step.
One small step
for man.
One small step. The first quest name is literally called one small step. So they're already referencing the footprint, the importance of a footprint on a planet in the game and the story. But then the fact that it doesn't have it on the planet, yeah, for sure. You
feel the audio sound resonate. Like you could hear the sound. You can hear the intrigue of space, the appeal of space is venturing into feeling things. Obviously, you can't feel things in games, but the feeling is lost. When you're navigating between planets, you don't feel like holy shit, I'm just hitting this ring-shaped planet. Like in Elite Dangerous, I'll tell you right now, I cannot, for the life of me, don't know why, it's weird, I can't crash into a planet because it fucking gives me so much anxiety when I'm going in there. I always do it. I always like just too much. It's so weird that a game makes me so shook that I can't crash my ship because it does the immersion and scale so well.
Because landing is so important. It's so
big.
many steps. It's like
space is so vast, man. It's scary when you see those videos about the side. You must have seen it in chat. The comparison of our planet compared to the galaxy. You know, the little perspective videos. Here's Earth, and then here's this, and then there's the sun, and then this is this sun. I watched that video, and it's so unsettling.
You want to hear something funny, Cass? Some guy put Alpha Centauri Xboxes stealing stuff from Mass Effect, and I'm like, do they realize Alpha Centauri is a real star system? Do they realize that? They think they stole the name from Mass Effect. It's a real star. It has 2 suns, like a dwarf sun. Like oh my god, I was just like, and I know a lot. And the whole gas giant thing, we don't need to.
Thank you for bringing that up, come on, bro. If you missed this, Gene, I don't know if you watched.
I saw that, man. People are crazy, but I told you, people are crazy over this game, dude.
Bro, before it came out, and still to this day, I will tell you right now, I'm going to be I'm sorry, Blaze. Ignore anything I say about Spider-Man when it comes out or before it's coming out. This is console wars. You have to, you're my bro. In the streets, I have to fucking be raw. Ned, I've seen so much bullshit about Starfield to this day. I'm going to be such a prick when Spider-Man comes out.
Come on, guys.
I'm going to be a fucking... No. I'm going to do that. Look, Xbox family, look, now you've seen how much they hate, how fucking unsettled they were. King Thrash is talking about landing on fucking gas giants. OT's defending him, say, well, Star Citizen lets you fucking land on gas giants. What the fuck are we talking about? Fucking gas giants. On the one hand, all the PlayStation guys were complaining about all this bloated content, side content. Oh, all this shit is going to take away from the core story. But the inverse ended up being true. The core story is so good. This is my biggest fear. Yet the mainline story is more exciting to me than any fucking Bethesda game I've played. It was so good. And they did such a good job with the premise of the story, tackling the whole idea of intrigue of space. Who are we alone? Like, you get the little animal creatures, but I mean, smart, freaking aliens who, like, whatever, left these artifacts. No spoilers, but, bruv, like, the insanity.
Can I say something about this shit? This shit pisses me off, really. Just saying the whole gas giant thing, like, oh, nobody even knew what the hell a gas giant was until, like, bro, like, we're talking about basic fucking
elementary school.
Yeah, elementary school. Like, what, like, you guys didn't know what a gas giant, like, and then it's like, as the PlayStation guys, look, and I love my PlayStation brothers, but one thing I do not tolerate is fucking capping for the other, making up fucking excuses. When listen, I don't give a fuck if your PlayStation, that's the problem with a lot of these idiots, bro. They will not call them out or fucking say they were wrong just because they fucking like PlayStation. I'm a realist, bro. If you're a fucking idiot, you say something dumb, you're gonna get. I'm gonna bust your fucking balls at the very least. Like, that's pathetic. I hate that about people. Oh, like, bro, Audi. When I seen that shit, I'm like, Audi, come on, bro. Like, what a disappointment. Like, just cut the shit out, bro. Like, you know what I mean? When someone says something stupid, it's stupid. That's it. Like, I'm not saying King Thrash is a piece of shit. He might be, but I don't know. I'm just saying, like, bro, when someone says something fucking dumb, it's dumb. That's it. You don't have to make excuses for it. This is basic science, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, yeah. So for people who don't know, King Thrash, who's featured in my Source videos, pretty toxic guy, but he fucking deserves the smoke. I will say that. But then articles got written about his blunder or basic science blunder, and I had beef with this guy. I actually reached out to him because it got so bad. I said to him, I basically said, look, you will have beef. I have beef with each other. We will always have beef. All I'm saying to you is it'll ride it out. It'll settle through. Just basically me. Maybe I'm getting old, but I felt bad for him. I was like, maybe it doesn't even deserve me reaching out to him. But maybe it was late at night. I don't know. Maybe I had too much fucking soya milk, which I don't drink by mistake. Maybe I've drank it and I was feeling soft. And I reached out to him. I said, yo, it will go through. Don't worry about it. And he was cool about it. He's like, don't worry about it. It's fine, man. And yeah, that's it. And it kind of.
But the thing that kills me is when you dedicate your whole day to shit on a game every day, and then the fact that you really thought you had something with this, like, oh, you can't travel to this, like he really thought you had something, like, bro, like that's all I'm saying. Sometimes you got to look back, like, wow, that actually I didn't even think about that. That's a gas, you know what I mean? Oh, they said, oh, why can't you send probes? Like, do you really want to sit there and send the fucking probes to find out there's fucking hydrogen? Like, what are we talking about here, bro? Like,
yeah, what game are you asking for, right? Can I talk a little bit about the transportation and the fast travel and menus?
Absolutely.
And everything? I do think that it's a little disappointing. The reason why I was not as disappointed as a lot of people is because if you go back and watch the 45-minute the Starfield Direct, they will show you in plain view exactly how the travel works. It looked like they were doing clever edits of cutscenes and everything like that. No, that is the actual gameplay loop. And when I saw the Direct, I was like, I bet you that's how you travel the planet. You just click on it, boom, and then it's a landing cutscene, and boom, boom, boom. So when I saw the game, I was like, yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, that was it. My biggest disappointment was actually flying over the planet. When I realized that you're actually essentially in a skybox or a bubble, that they form a little bubble, and there's like actual zero movement. And it's an illusion. You're not actually moving your ship. The rocks are moving past you. That's it.
Yeah.
You're not actually moving your ship. The illusion works when you're in a dogfight, and it's fucking awesome. I actually love the dogfighting mechanics. And then I completely forget that I'm not actually flying anywhere. And the things are, and they're just moving the stage around me to do it. So at that point, it becomes like a really cool roller coaster ride where just like, you know, it's like the fucking Simpsons ride or whatever. Where you're have you been to the Simpsons ride in Universal Studios?
No.
It's not an actual roller coaster, but there's screens all around you to make it look like that you're actually going through like all kinds of shit in the Simpsons world. But really, you're just staying in one car, and you just keep moving the thing around. That's exactly what Starfield's ship is doing. You're just sitting in the ship, and then they're just moving the space around you to do that. That was what I was disappointed at. I think they could have made some kind of compromise, even with the landing. If it was like, even if the landing was like a narrow path to the landing pad, and then like it's just a tunnel, and you can just kind of like move around in it, just to have that immersion, because they kind of do that. And you can always just fast travel to the place if you don't want to deal with that fucking shit, right? Because you know, there's been quests where I've been in the ass end of the galaxy and I found the artifact, and then I just pull up the menu, click the lodge, boom, I'm back at home at the lodge, like 10,000 light years away in 6 seconds, thanks to you know, modern loading technology, which is great. But so that option was always there, but then they didn't really leave a lot of option for like having immersiveness in terms of space exploration. That would have been nice. Again, back to Blaze's point, it's not really, we're not asking for a lot, but just like a little bit for the immersion, a footstep, a little bit more than landing sequence, you know.
Bro,
I'm glad that you said like that you really enjoyed the dogfighting, because I'm nowhere in the game. I've not done much of that, so my opinion doesn't mean anything. But the dogfighting that I've seen was a bit wank. I was really disappointed by that. So it's encouraging for me that like there might be more to that when you start getting better ships and all the rest of it. Because like you say, it's in like a fake skybox. It's really difficult to do like 6 degrees of freedom dogfighting combat and make it fun, because when you play like a first-person shooter, you've got level design to consider, you've got line of sight, you've got obstacles, you've got things. And when you do space combat, if you do it in space without like here's a fancy space station with tunnels and corridors and all the rest of it, then it is just like, okay, I'm going to spin until I can see him, I'm going to shoot, and there's not a lot more to it. Starfield has all of the like being able to power up different parts of your ship and all the rest of it, and I was like, oh, this one's a bit rough. I might not do much dogfighting because this feels like a bad version of Star Wars Squadrons. But you saying that actually you enjoyed that specifically, that's encouraging for me. Putting aside all in that, no, your point more though, you were talking about the maps and the navigation and all of this not being able to be immersed in space and fly everywhere. I get that from what I've seen so far. My question, a lot of people like to compare this one to No Man's Sky, where you can seamlessly travel to planets and fly and all the rest of it. And that's like, it's not an unfair comparison as such, but parking that to the side, what I really want to know is in all of the stuff you see, all the memos that Todd Howard has sent to people at Bethesda, people at Xbox and all the rest of it, he always talks about the vision for Starfield that they had in 2013. I would love to know how close they got to the vision that they had in 2013. Like, at what point did it become menus? Was that always the idea? Or was that a result of like compromise that you had to make along the way? We're not going to know that. We're not going to come out and say, but
I think compromises were made.
Yeah,
sure.
To me, absolutely. You cannot, even as a game dev design philosophy, forsake that. Your mind will go to that. That's the first thing you see. Like, these are intrinsically to the whole scope of the nature of the game. They could have finessed it so many ways. Like, if you want to go to the lodge, right? Instead of just, you see the planet, press X, you hit a menu, then hold X to land. Like, it's terrible. What you could have done is just to make the loading even longer. You have to align your ship on that side of the planet, just go in and just super cruise into it. If you played Elite Dangerous, Elite Dangerous is on far too wild, actually. That's super complicated.
And let's be real, but real quick, guys, Elite Dangerous, that's their focus, right?
That's their focus. That's exactly.
They're not doing a bunch of other little things. And I'm not making an excuse for Starfield, but you know, their focus is literally space travel. It's
And this is why do you think Star Citizen has so much funding, despite the fact that in 10 years it's still in fucking alpha?
It's not done yet.
It's not done yet. That's a big, massive scam or whatever. But the whole point is, people love that because they want that stuff. You have to tap into it, and you completely forsaken that. So if you're going to the lodge, you press in, you have to align your ship with that side of the planet, and then just have even a canned animation, first-person view. You're entering the atmosphere, tilt the ship, so you get the burning up of the atmosphere. That it could be happening. Boosters kick up. Let the loading happen in the background. You can still see some of the skyline, and then just load it in as it does, because the way Starfield does load, you will see that some of the terrain, and then you just land. One of the things in I think it was ODST, or was it also in Halo 3, like when it was the first person view, you're stuck in that pod and you're going through the atmosphere. It's stuck with me. It's such a key sci-fi trope. And the planetary navigation is so important, and you've completely let it go by the wayside. You didn't tap the potential of it, and it's such a crime. You did those little things. You guys in chat might say, you're talking about footsteps in snow and sand. You're talking about these like little bits here and there. What difference would it make? I guarantee, I am 100% convinced you did that. Execute these little flares. This would be a 92,
the little things,
93 plus.
The little things is what makes people remember. Like, listen, little things are important. Attention to detail for me. For me, it's very important, man. I'll stare at rocks and textures all day. That's just me. But I know everybody else kind of just cruises along. What Gene said, like if you were in a tunnel and you couldn't, but like people would find a way to complain about that. Like, oh,
that's true. That's true.
So it's like either you go.
Look at this fucking tunnel, right?
Right. Either you go for it or you just you have what they have now, because you can't half-ass that, because people are gonna complain even worse. Like, dude, you couldn't even. So it's either you go for it all or you kind of.
At the same time, right? So I know, like we've upset a few people. Just 1 second, and I'll get onto that. Like, we've upset a few people because we've been doing criticism for a little while, and people don't like it when you criticize their favorite thing. I want to like remind everyone that actually all 4 people here really like the game, and I think. So, question to go round. I don't want to skip your point, Gene, so get that in first. But is there any other game that's come out in the last like 5 years, or in like this console generation, as it were, that you're more likely to be playing in 10 years' time than Starfield? For me, the potential for this one is like it's going to be there for so freaking long and relevant for so freaking long that there just aren't other games like it.
Oh, there'll be modders and people playing this for years. And real quick before I forget to start, I think what the problem is, Asa. They look at No Man's Sky, they see a very small development team, a very small budget, and yes, the visuals are not on par with Starfield. They went for more of a, cartoonish look, whatever you want to call it. Even though it's beautiful, it's just a different look. And they look at that small development team and the small amount of funding that they did have, and they created that. So they're looking at Bethesda, the backing of Microsoft. So I think people are looking at that aspect as well too. But it is what it is, man. Starfield's in like, dude, that game is gorgeous, bro. It's so much fun,
bro. Starfield is the best. Nothing on PlayStation released so far this gen has made me. Have I enjoyed as much as I have enjoyed Starfield?
Right. And I'll talk to you guys later.
God of War Ragnarok's overrated.
Whoa! I'll really talk to you later. Holy shit! I
haven't completed that game because fuck. I haven't completed it. So this is a big disclaimer. But I feel like if I complete that game, I feel like I will say that that game is massively overrated and it does not deserve 95. I feel that might be the case. I haven't played it, but that's what I'm saying. But this Starfield is one of the best games I have played this gen. But as far as exclusives go, it is, well, Zelda, forget Nintendo out there, between PlayStation and Xbox, Starfield by a mile. Yeah, it still missed those tropes for me, which is so important. Lancelot with the $2 super chat goes, Star Wars Outlaws, just keep your eye on that, because Ubisoft talks so much shit. That game I do not trust. Does anyone here trust Outlaws to be what they're saying it's going to be?
I'm going to wait until AC Mirage comes out before I start giving the Ubisoft again the benefit of that. I love Ubisoft, right? But then it's been years of betrayal, right? So it's like it's kind of like what Bethesda was before Starfield, where it's like, okay, we got to see what you're cooking up next, because it's been a while, and I'm not sure about Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, you're right. Like, I think you should be skeptical of what the game is going to be.
The Watchdog stink still
Watchdog
exists.
Legion, yeah, come on, dude. You know?
And the first Watchdogs,
I love Watchdog Legion. I thought that was an okay game. I wouldn't rate it an 8 over 7 of Starfield, but I thought it had some value. But
sorry for Ubisoft. They at the launch of this console generation, they were the only publisher that turned up. They carried the launch of these consoles. But they are also making Skull and Bones, which is a freaking disaster.
I also want to give the listeners a little preview. I did talk to Todd Howard. We did a post-mortem of Starfield.
No way!
So I'm hoping to publish that story next week.
That's
I'm
big, bro.
I'm actually the first person Todd Howard spoke to that completed the game outside the company. So,
wow.
Can you tell? Did you speak to him about the space travel menu shit?
We did, yeah, we talked about it.
So, when is that coming out?
Sometime this week. I still have to write it, so I've got a lot of stories cooking right now. But my conversation with Todd is one of them.
Is awesome.
Skull and Bones ain't that bad, by the way.
S&B.
Hey, I played it.
You played Skull and Bones for real?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And the NDA they put on your screen is, it's, I've never seen anything like it. Like, your email is the opacity is kind of low, but it's all over your screen, bro.
Bouncing
they
all
don't
over.
want
text.
Yeah, that's how I watched The Last of Us. My fucking work email was just bouncing all over the screen.
Bro, that's why I'm so shook. That
Ellie's crying, and like my email gene.park@washpost.com is just like, bloop.
Yep, they don't want you. Like, they'll know.
Yeah.
I so badly wanted to post Starfield like pictures I'd taken before the embargo lifted, but I'm so paranoid that they might have like cleverly put in the little like registry ID of my game tag somewhere.
But they surely know you're gonna take pictures. Come on, they knew that, so you can just share it now. Be like, I'm waited for the embargo.
I waited for the embargo. I want to do it before the embargo. I was just trying to be naughty. But now I've shared it. But yeah, they wouldn't have complained because so many people fucking broke embargo and started showing someone running 10 minutes in one way and then say, oh no, hit fucking A to load a new area. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? No one plays the game like that.
That's the shit that bothers me. Like, who's running in a straight line for fucking 10 minutes, bro?
Hey, it's my only choice.
Ace has got nothing else to do.
Did you get that loading thing? Did you get that?
No,
screen?
actually, the areas are generous. There's a long way that you can walk before you hit any of that. I did have.
There is, and that's why when that popped off.
Oh yeah,
when that popped off, that was the only time I decided to finally test the boundary break, because like when I was playing the game, that's a fucking awful way to play the game. That's a stupid way to play any game besides Death Stranding, I guess.
Yeah, and I get it. I get what they're saying.
Exactly.
It's a planet. It's a planet, and why is there boundaries? I get it, but like, what they've intended you to show is in that play area, and like, if you want to just see barren waste
for free. After the embargo, I was streaming and we were testing this. By the way, can we give a shout? The one thing that Todd Howard really achieved, in my opinion, is the procedural generation that feels like it's handcrafted stuff, because it's so the lack of visual pop-up for me on the Series X is really good. You get pop-ups, and you will get your bugs. Like, I don't know what people are doing. Oh, they're putting videos of bugs. I thought it had no bugs. No, you freaking idiots. It's a Bethesda game. It's called Bethesda because Fallout 76 and loads of games just riddled with bugs. this game, I hardly came across one bug apart from the Nick Marseille bug where the character's hair disappeared, which is funny.
They've gotten better though, Bethesda. I think they've kind of realized like, hey, we can't get away with this anymore. Let's really try to.
Bro, this is a result of Xbox giving them another year to polish and remove bugs.
This is Xbox like giving them like an army of like QA testers. Like this game was QA tested to absolute like fucking like to the moon and back. So
yeah, pun intended.
Yeah, again, I talked to Todd a little bit about that process too.
So. Oh, you did? Okay, I can't wait to do this because that's a big interview, man.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like?
Todd and Phil Spencer. So
Phil Spencer. Shit.
The boys, you know.
Was it like a Zoom call? Or
it was a Zoom call, yeah. Oh, which I'm upset about because like Todd is right up the street. I could just take an Uber up to go see him, but you know.
Did you say that to him?
But they gave GQ the big profile piece where they visited the office and got to play their game early for free. And I'm just like, I'm just right here, bro. I'm your local paper.
You don't gotta fly me out. You don't even gotta fly me
out. You don't even gotta fly me out. Just send an Uber for me, bro. That's it. You know? I'm literally down the street.
Did you tell him that? Did you tell him that?
He knows I live down the street, so we'll see.
Oh man.
What about the person that said that the procedural generated? He said that I seen this video on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know if I can take this serious, but because it's Twitter. But he was saying like, you'll be on this planet, you'll see this outpost with pirates, and you'll be on this, and it's the same exact, it's set up the same exact way with the exact same people in the same positions. Do you see that?
I think that may be correct. I said the fact
I don't know though.
But I feel like that may be correct only because I came across a space station. And this is actually, and thank you for reminding me, I think the dynamism in the RPG elements could have been stronger as well, because I came across an abandoned space station. Sometimes you try and hail the space station, you hear nothing but static on the radio, like, oh shit, something's happened here. So you go into, and that's the best part. Like, you go in, and that's the intrigue. You go in, and I felt like I came across the same scenario when I was fighting, the Ecliptic were fighting the Crimson Fleet, and they're just fighting each other. You come across a battle between those two. And I was like, I've pretty much seen the exact same thing. Have I gone back to the same station? So that is maybe a valid criticism against the game. Okay. So, but for the most part, in the way, forget the encounter design, but the way the worlds are crafted. So it's so dense, visually massively dense, depending on where you go. The planet with loads of like fauna and everything.
How
then
about
you get
those sunrises?
Bro, that there are some, such good vistas that look incredible. I feel like a little bit more dynamism with the sunset, and sunset would have been good. I don't know. It is beautiful.
I've been looking at that
because,
like Gene said, on the planet, it's all dynamic. The sun is where the sun is, or whatever star it may be.
Yeah.
So you get natural sunsets and sunrises. I've been looking at one today, going, "Oh, that's really nice." I've also, if you go into a game like this and you're looking to find flaws, you're gonna find flaws quite easily, because that's just like, it's a big game. It's massive in scope and scale. I did like a basic escort quest today, and the guy was so freaking irritating. And then he said something rude to me. It took ages to get him from where he was to where he needed to go, and right at the end he said something rude to me, so I shot him in the face, and his whole base decided that was the enemy from that point on. This is why I don't get along. It's not even the same. Like, it's not even the same reason that I've got the bounty on my head. It's just
your run is
it's great.
Chaos,
I'm having fun.
Bro.
It's real.
What's going on there?
Well, that fucking run is disgusting.
That is the most chaotic run I've heard ever, like so far out of everyone I've spoken to.
I play games, I can't help it. Love chaos.
Oh man, fuck, man! Thank God you didn't get a review copy, because that would be the worst review ever. It's like, I've only tested one planet, I haven't completed the story.
I was running around in third person with a laser. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, does he got guns? And then he finally explained that he had no more ammo and he was stuck and he couldn't move anywhere.
It's stranded for so long.
I have to check these streams out. I will say that I do feel the disappointment of like not like of having boundaries. Like, if anything, it could have just been infinite scroll basically. Part of that is because I love weed, right? I love getting stoned. And
man!
Oh my God! So glad you mentioned that.
There you go. Your name is Blaze. So wow, I did not know that, Mr. Blaze, about you. But I love getting stoned, right? And for me, like there's nothing better in life than getting high and playing a good Bethesda game, right?
Oh,
and I thought this would have been the perfect Bethesda game to just spark up and just like walk forever and ever, just like collect shit and be at the end of my high. Once I wrote it out, I'm just like, hey, you know what? I got all this crafting shit. I'm gonna spend the rest of the time building shit because I spent like an hour or two like just walking around. That would have been nice. So I totally get that, because like sometimes, you know, that's the beauty of No Man's Sky. It's boring as shit, right? But if you look at No Man's Sky as just like a beautiful interactive like lava lamp, then yeah,
that's a great way to explain it.
Yeah.
A beautiful interactive lava lamp. And you know, on the point, not that I partake, but I did say the very same thing to Cole Eastwood. We played No Man's Sky, we played Starfield. If you do wherever it's legal, or illegal if you do it, fuck it. This game is perfect to get danked on and just play and get lost in the exploratory stuff. One thing I take issue with Gene Park said on Twitter, he turned off the music. The soundtrack in this game is lit. What the fuck are you talking about?
You know what? There's a lot of people that do that, man.
I was out of pocket for saying that. I was out of pocket. I shouldn't have said it the way I said it, right?
I think it's just good. Like, what the fuck?
Literally, the only thing that bothered me was the fact, again, that there's so many loading screens and you're drive jumping so much. I kept hearing the 5 notes of Starfield theme song. Do, 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 do,
yeah.
5 seconds later, do, 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 do.
Yeah. Every time you go,
every time you go anywhere, you always hear that fucking song. And I'm sorry if like nobody's noticing it before, and you're probably gonna notice it forever now. But like that was the shit that was irritating me. I've turned the music back on because I'm doing like story quests, and I was like, I need to know like what the mood they're trying to go for here.
No, yeah, the mood. Yeah,
exactly. BG is like that. He's like music for me. Like even Armored Core, just sitting at the menu with the menu music is like super like nostalgic. Like I hear that and like music is very important. But I do get what you're saying. Like
fundamentally important.
It's like that. They're trying to go for the wow effect every time you take off with the little sprinkle of music.
It gets a bit tiresome and forced though.
Yeah. The magic is gone after like the 500th time I'm fucking grab driving. This is a chore now. Like we don't need this pop-in circumstance. Like every time I need to get somewhere, you know. Like it's like you know, like music playing every time I get into my car and I'm going to the store. It's like it's not that epic, guys. You know.
Yeah. It's like they need to mix that up a little bit because it gets a little bit silly. I do agree with you. And Blaze, you're absolutely right. Music is so fundamental to a gaming experience. It can transform how you perceive a game or movie. It is massive, but the general soundtrack is incredible. You'll get your orchestral scores when you're fighting in space. Then when you're doing the space, the planetary navigation, you will have these like subtle ambient lows, and it's just hits those interstellar vibes as well. And it's so good to get that. And I was listening to this part of my review. I was trying to record the soundtrack. It's so good. Well done to whoever did I forgot the name of the people who did the soundtrack. But it was really good. I love the music in that game. And I think it really hits the right notes there. Thane Mitra with a $2 super chat. He says the cope is strong. I don't know what to do with that, but thanks. Danny Passion Official with a $2 super chat. Asa, MLI to super chat here. Why is up with these fucking super chats, man? Give us something to do.
Because when I do my Thursday one, I have a minimum price. If they want a super chat there, it's like $2,700 or something, or I won't read it out.
Really?
Yes, Daddy, you're allowed to hit.
Man, I gotta hang out at Aces streams one of these days, man. It sounds like
Bro, he is so comical. He just sits there like, I'm telling you, man, the most random shit is so entertaining.
That's dope.
Fuck is your stream. But yeah, man. But I mean, generally, look, Starfield has Bethesda proven itself? I think the answer we'll all say is yes. It may not have hit the definitive like genre defining thing that a lot of people expected, including myself, but it is a beautiful game. Not
I'm pretty sure they gave I'm sorry guys, I just realized this. I'm pretty sure IGN gave Fallout 4 a 9.5. Okay,
it's the same. Wasn't it Dan who gave that?
Yeah, Dan gave it a 9.5.
Right. So but you know, some people say that's the worst Fallout game in terms of like decision making and stuff like that. So well, not 76, but yeah, it's It's pretty interesting when you think about it.
Speaking of Jaffe is in the chat.
Hey, Jaffe, what's up, man? What's up, Mr. Scott Jaffe? How's it going?
You can stay off my damn planet, Park. Mine. Jaffe, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, well, I kind of want to invite him in here. But the visuals, it's like, I'm making a video on it, but I want to get you on and to have a chat about that. But I disagree, but reasonable people can disagree. But genuinely, like, and Jaffe's view, check out his channel. He's in love with the game. He's parked up a base outpost in the moon, and he's harvesting like bodies there because there's no security over there, so he can get away with it. Like, that's fucking crazy that you can even do shit like that in that game. And without offering spoilers,
what a sick individual. He must have made like a gruesome game before then, huh?
Yeah, must have.
Some kind of twisted metal brain or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
Some kind of god of war.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck? And he does a lot of drugs, so you know exactly where his inspiration comes from. This is
Jaffe, bro.
Jaffe. He hasn't tried DMC yet. He hasn't. But Starfield, Xbox fans, you're gonna love it. If you haven't played it yet, and you're waiting for the actual release. By the way, this game is fucking killing it on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
It is mammoth. Like, this is like 200 something thousand concurrent players,
which is crazy because someone's saying, dude, that's actually kind of low. I said, dude, do you realize everybody that's on Steam right now is paid $100 for that version? Mm-hmm. So that's the early access edition for $100, and there's over 200,000 people playing it. Mm-hmm. That's fucking incredible. First of all,
that's insane for a game that's on Game Pass. It was just crazy. The scope of this game in madness on Game Pass, and it strikes at the heart of your friend, which me and have beef with, Colin Moriarty, about the Game Pass sustainability and how the fuck that's sustainable. But bro, look at this game. It is killing it. In terms of hardware, they have sold this. They sold me this. It's a cool watch. A bit limited as far as smartwatch is concerned, but they've sold all this.
Wouldn't that been cool if they implemented that with your Apple Watch real quick? Just saying.
I wish they kind of did. Yeah.
Yeah, like if they had with a shell and you could whatever. But anyway,
like an app or something like that too. Yeah, for sure.
Who's gonna wear that over an Apple Watch? Really? Let's be honest.
I mean, we pay $700 for an Apple Watch. It'd be nice if we can turn it into a Constellation Watch too. But.
Yeah, I think they should have. I mean,
like an Apple Watch face. Like, I'll buy it too. I don't give a shit.
I'm sure somebody will make it on Etsy, like a face for it.
Yeah, they definitely will. Jaffe, I need to send you your pipes, by the way. I actually have got them. That sounds weird, but it's here. Your pipes are here. I need to ship them to your PO box address. Jaffe says, smoking pipe. A custom-made smoking pipe. He says, it's wonderful. Ugliest Sin on the Series X was so good. What do you mean, Jaffe? You're going on some random planets. The freaking global illumination is lit in this game. It's such a beautiful. I just don't understand how you think this game is not good looking.
This game's not ugly at all.
It's not. I disagree with you completely on that. I mean, the footage here is very representative of the way the game looks. And this is early footage that Ace has gone by as he's gone to take a piss. But I think it's really good. But I think in terms of going back to the sustainability of Game Pass and all of this game is going to do wonders. They have made masses of money, $100 on PC, and loads of people on Xbox who are playing it already have stumped up that cash. So, and they're going to get Game Pass subs. It is an indication of just how potent Xbox Game Pass can be and how it can supplement all kinds of revenue streams. You're going to get additional DLC, which I doubt will be covered in the Game Pass subscription. I can't wait to get the DLC for this game. The DLC for Starfield will be akin to like a mini release of a game, depending on how good and well they handle it, because the game is so vast. So I can't wait.
Wait, they're saying that Game Pass doesn't. Colin's saying Game Pass affects the bottom line sales, right? Basically.
Colin Moriarty thinks like it's not sustainable. He thinks that they're losing a lot of money, but it's only because it's Microsoft that they can take the brunt of the hit. He talks about value proposition. The quality of the games will dwindle. Starfield strikes.
I agree with a lot of that, but this is kind of proving against it, But I do agree with a lot of that.
People need to check out Randall Thor and Jez Corden, they on their channel had a really good chat with Colin Moriarty. I think I've cut part of the source. The negative of that is in my haste to entertain people, I will burn bridges. And I feel like, I mean, by the way, everyone's like, why don't you challenge Colin to? I've reached out to him in email. He says no, because he felt I insulted Dustin Furman, which was so soft.
So you have to go the saltiest gaming way, where you harass him for 3 months straight.
Yeah,
and then you can do that. You can be a clout chaser.
Bro, I'm not going to... Look, I will put him in my video. I believe what I say, and I feel like there's big utility in being someone who likes to entertain. And I put like the little rap of him and dancing on his corpse, which is fucking jokes. Obviously, I'm not going to dance on his corpse. It was a rap video. This is what raps are. Someone has to take the fucking risk to entertain people. But, you know, the problem with that is we burn bridges. And I'd like to have a real conversation with Colin about this. And I think he's just got a hard-on for hating on Xbox and Game Pass for some reason. I just feel like... But Jez Corden and Rand's podcast was really good. Very good, nuanced conversation, back and forth on this point. I think they really did challenge him. Rand is so cool. He's just such a nice guy.
I mean, that's why I'm on your show, Gaz, because like, you know, people always talk about toxic console warriors, but like I see what you're doing. Like it's entertainment. You're really going the extra mile to like make this fun, make this interesting. Like I don't think it's that toxic. I think it's just jokes and japes. And
absolutely.
Yeah. You know,
that's my intention with that.
I mean,
it's part of the show, right? It's part of the show. It's the clownery, you know. That's why when you say that like it's funny to hear you say like that you're gonna admit to being unreasonable about Spider-Man 2. I think that's fucking hilarious, you know.
Yeah, absolutely will, because I recognize my behavior is toxic and it's ridiculous and perhaps maybe scuppers meaningful discourse, but it's the Adult Swim. That's how I see GameOnDaily in the YouTube channel. The Adult Swim of this space. My battery's running out, but. I just adore it. I can read your facial expressions from a mile away. But I will always do that. There is some truth to it. Absolutely. There's some people I despise in the space and I make it known, but very few. And then these are the pseudo intellectuals. I just think you don't add anything to it. But the likes of Colin and stuff, I disagree with. Some things I really disagree with, but I'm squarely approaching it as an entertainment angle.
Yeah, I'm don't understand that. If you go after Spider-Man, I'm coming after you. I'm coming after Spider-Man. I'm sorry. Any little bug, your best friend J-Rock, I'm gonna just hold his hand and I'm gonna go frolicking in the console world to any NPC, any little bug, anything. I'm gonna put it on blast because I'm gonna be a dick like that.
I'm so excited for Spider-Man. I'm so excited for a game that just like tells a story and I'm gonna be done in a weekend. Like, oh my god. Please just
open world fatigue.
Yeah, give me my PlayStation 1 and done, man. I'm ready for it again, dude. You know, I know that I didn't even know that 1 and done was like an insult to Sony games, but like I say it as like that's great. I love that, you know.
You know,
and you want to talk about me giving 10s. I gave Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart a 10. You know, I love that game. I think that's an amazing game.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
That's another game with a lot of loading and space travel. You know.
Oh, well, interesting the way that game handled loading, but Spider-Man.
Honestly, there's similarities between Rift Apart and Starfield.
Did you see that? Did you see that guy that jumped in the water in Spider-Man?
Okay,
and then took a screenshot, and it's like, you know, the boats that just drive by just for like scenery, like they clearly are not just for scenery, but somebody took a picture.
Shared that.
I seen it through you. So clearly they're like, we're not going to waste any resources, and they put like a PS2 face on them. It looks horrible, but literally it's like you're not meant to even go there. Like it's just for like a boat driving, but that was funny.
Yeah, I mean the NPCs in Starfield are fucking ugly as hell, dude. Like they're like borderline racist, dude. Like the way.
Yeah, have you seen that?
Like just seeing the NPCs and like the way like eyes are big and like the lips are big.
There's a guy called I forgot his name.
I'm just like this is like almost racist, dude. It's crazy how these NPCs look.
It's creation engines quirks that but the density of how many NPCs there are is pretty fucking crazy in this game. There'll be some moments in this core story where I was like, yo, you're testing this engine pretty rawly by throwing this out here. There's a lot of people.
That's another thing about this game, that, you know, all Bethesda games have always been in a wasteland or a fantasy land where it's like, you know, people are scattered across. This is Bethesda being like, hey, we can make Cyberpunk and we can make it better, you know. So that's why I think I'm comparing this to what to the promises of Cyberpunk. That's why I watched the 45-minute direct, because I really wanted to see whether Bethesda was lying, and I really don't think they lied at all. I think if you really just listen to and pay attention to what the 45-minute direct said and what Todd says on the Lex Friedman podcast, the entire game is there. He was
absolutely.
He was completely transparent about what the game is. So that's why my expectations were pretty much at level with what the game was.
Would you have rather had, let's say, 50, 100 planets, but they were more scoped out, well planned,
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
You rather would have had that? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think I think
a few star systems, maybe 10 star systems.
A couple star systems that you're going around, that would have been dope. And then that would give you this real sense of intimacy and environmental cohesion that you really, really don't get in Starfield, because they really, really stretch it out across. I think that criticism is pretty valid,
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think my camera's dark, so don't even look at me. Oh, this fucking battery! All my batteries run out. Oh, fuck it! It's so terrible. Why don't put the black screen in there? Talk about. Right, sorry. I was gonna say. Let me read the super chats and just focus on Gene Parks' face. Jimmy Andel with the $2 super chat. Did my $10 super chat pop up? Did we just read it? Jimmy, your $2. Some people have had issues where it hasn't gone through, so you don't get charged for it, by the way. But YouTube's being weird like that. Oh shit! Even this one's run out. I thought my battery came back on. What the fuck? Oh wait. Yeah, this one's got 2 bars. It'll be fine. Danny Passion Official with a $5 super chat. I haven't even bought the game until I try it on Game Pass. The reason for that is I've never finished a Todd game. I just joined. Is Blaze playing Starfield? Yes, he is. I've never completed a Bethesda game until this game. That says a lot in my opinion, because the story always I just get lost in it.
I never complete Bethesda games. I think I probably finished Oblivion, but Oblivion takes 2 hours to finish. You go through the prologue and then it's here's the ending if you want it, or you can go off and explore. Yeah. You said earlier, Gene, about it them being wide rather than deep, and Oblivion's the ultimate one, because you do this prison breakout and then it's here's the portal, go and do that. That's the boss. You finish the game. Or here's the world. Very much on Bethesda games, I'm here's the world, and I'm just fucking up my escort missions, and that's it. I don't get very far in them. That's just they're good for that.
Yeah, I can tell.
But it does. I'm sure we're going to go on to subscription services, aren't we? Cool.
Yeah, I think that's the perspective I come from. I love every Bethesda game ever since Morrowind. I've completed all of them. Fallout 3 is the most played game of the 7th generation, the Xbox 360 and PS3.
New Vegas.
I played 700 hours of Fallout 4, even though I had a viral tweet. It's a game I call mid, but I played it for 700 hours.
Wow.
700.
It's a lot of hours.
So Starfield, the Starfield may not be the best game of the year. It may not even be the game of the generation, but it's going to be the game I play the most. That's it. I know that for a fact.
Is it you guys' game of the year?
Game again,
It's my game of the year. It's my game of the year. Easily. It's the best game I've played. Nothing on PlayStation has touched that. Nothing on Xbox is touching it. Nintendo with Tears of the Kingdom, I can understand, but it's my favorite game of the year. It's
what have you played,
personally, I love space.
This year that you would that was your game of the year before Starfield?
Tears of the Kingdom, easily. Easily. And I haven't even completed that. I'm just astounded by that game, just mechanically what they've done. But I don't think it deserves to win, because like Gene said, the template was out there. Even if fundamentally gameplay wise has changed, they're still the same kind of thing with
same worlds, same piggies, just like a skybox.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, but you want to talk about seamlessness? You can jump from the sky castle.
That is true.
Go through the sky, go through the earth, and then go to the bottom of the
on that hardware too.
That's on the Nintendo
crazy.
Switch. Starfield isn't doing that shit. That's crazy.
No.
Yeah.
So. Absolutely, bro. Even popping in that game. You can rocks falling from the sky, reverse time, jump on it, and fucking go. This is genius. That game is genius. Incredible that they do it on the Switch, like you said. But
Armored Core is my game of the year right now, unless Starfield takes it.
I can't wait to play
I haven't beat. Dude, I'm 4 or 5 hours in Starfield right now.
Armored Core is so dope. I'm actually stuck on chapter 4, so Blaze, you're way ahead of me. So
I've beat the game 3 times, seen all the endings.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Bro, that game is so.
I can't wait to get there.
I can't wait to play this. That's what I'm going to play. I just need to. I finished the game, Starfield, and I'm doing this Crimson Fleet mission. And I'm like, okay, after this, I'll just buy Armored Core because I want to really play.
Get it on
Armored
PC.
Core.
We can like co-op. Dude, the online battles in that game, no one's even talking about. You can do 3v3, and everybody's got their own mechs, and they're all different colors. There was like Buzz Lightyear I was fighting with. It was crazy. Man, that game's awesome. It's such a different, because Firm Software likes to reuse assets. They're one of my favorite developers, but they love backstab animation, sound design. They like to reuse a lot of the same assets, but this is like such a refreshing take with some souls implemented in it. It's really, really, really good.
I'm definitely.
I'd be super happy if Armored Core just becomes Game of the Year because
Me too.
I'm just a FromSoft stan, and I would just love to see a game like that, like just come back and just take it for the win.
Have you seen Bloodborne rumors?
Yeah, I started seeing that today actually. But yeah, Blaze, you bring up a good point also for the PvP, but no one's talking about that. But it's like, bro, the PvP is the point of Armored Core, bro.
Absolutely.
It's a fighting game,
Different builds, absolutely. Yep.
Blaze, I don't play on PC. That's the thing. There's no crossplay.
No, that's Firm Software lacks. Listen, and one more thing about Firm Software, okay, and then I'll be done with it because. Oh, Blaze, come on. I said, listen, is there some status behind beating games and beating bosses? Cool. Yeah, everybody wants a rewarding thing. Some people like to just tweet shit out to say, hey, but there's something I got to say about From Software that no one really brings up. Their games always come out complete, full experience, okay? No, really not many bugs at all. No, Firm Software could easily charge armored little arms and mechs and missiles for like $5, have a battle pass. Bro, they never have any microtransactions. You know what I mean? And they stick to their guns. They're not going to put an easy mode there. They just stay true to who the hell they are. And that's why I think Firm Software is a top tier developer in terms of all that. So.
Hey, and you know what? There could have been every reason for it to monetize Starfield too. There would have been so many reasons to, not even just the ships or the outfits or whatever like that, but the fucking like level up. Like they could have been like level boosters, like what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed. But shout out to Bethesda for doing the bare minimum and not being scums. Like
but there's also
it's nice. It's a complete game. Everything's there. You got to earn everything that you get.
Absolutely. No, anyone who does that in this landscape deserves their flowers. Armored Core, when you put that up, Asa, I can't wait to play that. I'm so excited. There's so much goodness. This is going to be one of the best years in gaming for a very long time. Spartan661 with a $2 super chat. Gaz, your camera's about to die. This one also might. I know it might be all right. Nintendo Otaku with a $10 super chat. I agree with most criticisms, but that's enough to determine. But that's enough to deter it from being game of the gen. With the breadth and quality of content plus mods and DLC by the end of the gen, there's no way it won't be considered. Oh, so you meant it won't deter? Maybe because Fallout 4 shared the same with, and Starfield may be viewed very differently from the immediacy of things when things settle down because it is a beautiful game. Honestly, it's something really special. Jimmy Andel, thank you for the. Sorry.
I don't think it's going to be game of the generation. I think the game of the generation I think Bethesda has already made a game of the generation. It's Skyrim. Skyrim was that game, Skyrim is one of the most important games. Skyrim was and Oblivion too, let's not forget that Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Elden Ring would not exist if it wasn't for Oblivion. The reason why PlayStation asked From Software to make a fantasy game was because Xbox had Oblivion and they were like, yo, FromSoft, can you help us out? Can you make an Oblivion? And Miyazaki was like, yeah, sure. I'll make a game with swords and magic. And so Miyazaki was essentially lying to PlayStation that it was like Oblivion. And then that's when they played it. And they were like, this is fucking nothing like Oblivion. This sucks. Demon Souls.
That was a Japanese only.
That was
then they brought it over later.
Yeah, the Sony America said, what is this?
Yep.
No way. I did not know.
Skyrim doesn't get to have this generation, though.
Bro, me and my cousin had it. We bought it from, I think, it wasn't PlayAsia at the time, whatever the hell the website was. But we were like on Google translating. We beat Demon Souls. Well, he beat it. I was a little young then, but man, yeah.
You did all that? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's dope. That's hardcore. That's awesome. Yeah.
Very hardcore. That's wicked, man.
So the game of generation already happened in Skyrim, and Starfield is a better version of Skyrim. Let's just put it out there, right?
I mean, Bethesda's got. You're right. They got, bro. People they got fucking Skyrim. Look behind Asa right now. Like Skyrim is one of those games that people will remember forever. It's still played. They release it on every there'll be a PS6. They'll have a remaster Skyrim. Like they talk about squeezing the apple until there's no more juice. I mean, they've really.
So that
Skyrim is
poster
literally
behind me.
goated already.
It is, but it's not allowed this generation because it's not this generation's game. You can't have every generation of Skyrim just because they did an anniversary edition. That's illegal.
That's not.
I will say, I still probably overall, I'm not far into Starfield, so my opinion does not matter. But it hasn't gripped me as well as Skyrim does. I prefer Skyrim. I'm a high fantasy person more so than a space person. So I will say that it's not quite on the same level for me. I love Skyrim.
I think Skyrim is still better. All the Bethesda games right now, my ranking, it'll be Fallout 3, Skyrim, and then Starfield. So far.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe Starfield will go up because it's still early days, but that's where it sits right now. You know.
Still early though, Asa. Still early.
Yeah. I'm not a massive high fantasy fan. Yeah.
And obviously, I've not played Starfield in VR yet. It could change everything. That dogfighting could be so much fun looking around space.
It's coming. Oh, it's coming.
On that dogfighting, I will say, Asa, you will. It's quite simple. I feel like what they could have done is, this is what they've done. In order to, the cool part is docking enemy ships once you neutralize them. I feel like it's a bit basic and a bit RNG. If you lower the shields and then you can just dock them. Some ships, other ships you can't. I feel like they should have had it more where if you aim and target the engines more and then it can spiral out control or whatever.
I thought they have that. You could target individual systems.
I maybe, chat, if you can correct me.
They have that.
Yeah, no, you can do target lock. You press X and it'll zoom in and it becomes like VATS, straight up like Fallout. And then you can
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
Hit the engines. You can hit the grav drive. You can hit specific parts. The dogfighting is fucking cool in this game. Yeah, the dogfighting is actually pretty deep.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's sick.
Okay, I need to check that out. I'm gonna do that after this. Yeah. It's gonna be.
Anyways, I'm gonna. Is it okay if I hop out, guys?
Absolutely, Asa. Are you able to handle the transition? Are we good to go?
There might be a mislabeling for a moment, but yeah, it'll be fine.
Before you go, just say, Gene, thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you so much. We had such a lovely time, man, and I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, it's good to meet Blaze too.
Absolutely,
Gene. This is my first contact with him, so I'm definitely gonna have to hit him up later and see what's good about his content. And you know, is he on Twitter too? Yeah,
I'm on Twitter. I'll come follow you in a second.
Sure, bro.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you so much, Gene. Love you, man.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much, and everyone listening out there, thanks so much for listening. Take it easy, guys. Have a good weekend.
Okay. Peace.
Peace.
Wouldn't it be cool if we got Jaffe just come in? Boom! Jaffe for there. If I said you invite, we could talk this shit for days. Jimmy Andel, thank you for the $2 super chat. It was before the show. That he's talking about his previous super chat. Jimmy, we read your super chat. It was talking about Naruto X Boruto having this feature where Series X owners can choose not to play with Series S. That's a very interesting point, and we will look into that. So thank you for bringing that to our attention if that is the case. Gene is so cool, man. He's such a nice guy, isn't he, Blaze?
Good dude.
He's so down to earth. He's so chill. He's just a nice guy, man. Always fangirl when he's around, but he's just a lovely, lovely person.
Be surprised who's talking to who, too. Like, I would have, I had a conversation with Phil Spencer, and, it's crazy.
I would be, I know, man. Fucking Phil Spencer and then freaking Todd Howard. He is mad. Todd Howard came up to film Colt Eastwood when he went to this event, and he goes, Colt, he's just like, come here, like, I love your videos, man. It's like, that's a big thing for Todd Howard to say.
Well,
man.
Colt sits there and fucking edits his balls off, so you know what I mean? He puts in the work.
He does. That's a big, big accolade. PlayStation Plus. We talk about Xbox Game Pass being unsustainable. PlayStation Plus's price hike. Fuck.
Let me tell you something. That is the most. Listen, that's a good thing. I love that they increased the price of PlayStation Plus. I think it's a great thing. I'm excited. What?
You wait? Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm not fucking serious, bro.
Oh my fucking days! I was just looking at me.
Come on, bro. It's like. I couldn't believe that. Like they put the statement out of nowhere, coming up very soon, and then it's like the next big statement is like, hey, the PlayStation Portable is releasing. It's like, wow, they just brush over it, like, people forget it. Like they don't, like, that's just, it's unfortunate. It really is. It really is right now. PlayStation's kind of like PlayStation Plus, they give out good games. It's not like, what do they call it? Gold on Xbox, where they kind of
that's swag.
It's like an afterthought. You know what I mean? But they do give out some good games, but the increase is just unexpected, and nobody, like, the more people that complain about this, like, if PlayStation fans are really fans, like, they should not stand for any of this. They should absolutely be pounding on Sony on Twitter, wherever their platform is, because it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
I did see even Nick Marseille, bless his heart. I do bully him quite a bit, but he handles it. Like, most PlayStation guys were pretty vocally against this, and absolutely, why wouldn't you be? Because the increase is substantial, by up to like $40. PlayStation doesn't even fucking allow you to for free save carries, man. I gave my PS5 to my brother. He's moved to Saudi, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to buy a PS5 now. I'm PS5less. I'm sure I'll buy it soon, but I'm like, what happened to my saves? Whereas with Xbox, it's so, and PC just transfers over. Like, what the fuck? So PlayStation, man, they are taking the fucking urine with you guys. Us guys, we're all PlayStation, all gamers here.
PlayStation Plus Premium is $160, bro. That's just crazy,
bro, man. This is why you need competition in the space, man. Like, my Xbox need to fucking keep delivering, so PlayStation
if
doesn't.
PlayStation would say, hey, we're gonna listen, we have our streaming stuff, cool, but we're now as a bonus, we're taking all PS2 games that haven't made it on PS3 games, especially if they could find a way to get PS3 games as a downloadable native thing with some sort of upscaling thing, that would be so fucking massive. You got trophy support, that'd be huge. Like, but there's no incentive. They're just increasing the price. There's no like, hey, but you're getting this. It's like, no, fuck.
There's no
the price. Right?
Yeah. There's no carrot. It's just stick, and that's it. And here's the. It's a bad look, man. Asa, what the fuck? Does this mean Xbox
to
might
be fair,
fucking
I've not
suit?
seen. I don't follow the console war stuff really closely, but I've not seen anyone defend this as like, oh, we love this price increase, it means we're going to get the best service ever or anything like that. I've not seen anyone try and angle it that way, so that's a positive for me. It made me kind of open my eyes and go, oh, that 12-month deal used to be really good, huh? Aren't I a mug because I pay monthly? I don't think they're changing the monthly or the other prices. I could be wrong, but they didn't say it in the blog announcement.
Some people are grandfathered in too.
Grandfathered in, yeah, but yeah.
Do you have the 12-month? Do you pay for it in that way?
No, they just charge me a month, bro. That's just, I could pay them the year thing, but I'm just like, whatever, take it out monthly. My son has premium now, which is now I'm gonna have to be like, whoa, because like, he don't own all the games. I was game sharing with Solid Rev for such a long time, but now that he game shares with his son, I do the same. But there's a bunch of games that he wants to buy that I'm just like, I refuse. Like, I'm not, some of these games he plays, you know what I mean? But yeah, so we're gonna have to make an adjustment on that. But I know you don't pay attention to it, Asa, but like when you just increase something out of nowhere, like happy holidays, like, like what are they doing? Like, I don't understand it. There's no incentive. It's weird.
I don't disagree at all. Like, I'm aware like price increases are bad and everyone should push against them as much as they can, but they're increasing the 12-month one. So it's just like, it was a realization for me, like, wow, that 12-month must have been really good, because they're saying that they're increasing it by as much as they are, and it's like on premium it's a 33% increase, I think, something like $40, and they're saying that even with that increase it still works out cheaper than the other deals that you can get, the 1 month and the 3 month. So I'm looking at that going, wow, what a fucking idiot I am for not having 12 months in the first place if it was that much of a saving. But at the same time, like, subscription models are a difficult thing to quantify in terms of how they're costed and all the rest of it. And the advantage of a 12-month subscription is always that you've got that revenue like guaranteed. They're subscribed for 12 months. If you have a shit month, they're not going to be able to cancel their subscription. And that's where the discount comes from. That's why they want you on 12 months instead of one. And maybe it was too cheap. Maybe Sony are going to start like giving us better content or trying to compete harder with Game Pass. And maybe people on 12 months were like, oh shit, we're making a loss with every single one of them. I'm not defending it. Cost increases are bad. They just are. Like, they might have been better off just getting rid of the 12-month plan like Xbox did.
Exactly. But they're not gonna, Asa. That's the problem. And there, like Cage said in the chat, Cassie Cage said, there's really what's there. What's PlayStation give you multiplayer wise, just from a first party standpoint of like, what are they giving you, making you say, hey, you need this to play multiplayer online? Like what? Everything free to play is free. So like, what are they giving? What's the incentive? And if they haven't added anything,
been saying for ages.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like if there's nothing multiplayer wise, how you justify it? I can't see it. And that's it. Let's be real. With gold, they tried to raise that price. Within 24 hours, they did a U-turn. Within 24 hours, everyone's like, fuck that. That's taking the piss. PlayStation, your noise wasn't enough. They don't give a fuck about you. You said, yeah, here it is. Suck it. And that's it. Done. It's done. Lock off with Game Pass.
The console leader. They just. I'm telling you, the arrogance PlayStation has sometimes. And listen, we're talking about a price increase, but like, they just think people will forget about it, and maybe they will in a month. Maybe it'll just be an afterthought.
Yeah. But, it's not good enough. It's just terrible. Spartan 661 with a $5 super chat. You guys are talking like everyone played Starfield. The official release date is September 6th. A few of us haven't even been able to play it. That's wait.
That's true. That is so true.
Yeah, it's true. Like it is weird for us to. I mean, I've been playing for a good 2-3 weeks, and you guys like. There's so much here. After this show, I can't wait to go back and play it. I didn't even know the thing about the space combat. They can target like VATs, different parts of the ship. So I've been fucking doing it wrong. There's a lot there, man.
They showed that in the walkthrough, guys, in the official
thing. Did they target indigenous parts of the ship? I don't remember that. This is just me. Just sorry about that, but I can't wait to try it. We've got a busy. I know some things. Should I say, fuck it, someone's going to break the news anyway. Forza Motorsport definitely has in-track ray tracing, by the way. I was worried about it.
About fucking time. Wow.
Yeah, boys!
Wow, about time. Holy shit.
Xbox winning here.
No, that's good.
Also,
that's good.
I did not. I was a bit worried. I was like, the way they fucking finessed it with the cube map stuff, I was like, why are they showing cube map stuff? But they have. I want to get too much into it because I could give more details, but I don't get too much trouble. But this is what Phil Spencer said. Phil Spencer reaffirmed this on Gamescom. He said, in-track ray tracing. I'm just confirming to you. I know for a fact Forza Motorsport has in-track ray tracing.
It's not even about a Forza thing. It's more of an Xbox thing, like the lack of ray tracing titles on Xbox. That's really what it's about. I know people are trying to compare Gran Turismo, but it's about Xbox really. PlayStation's done more of the ray tracing implementation in their games rather than Xbox.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. Xbox needs to do that, especially with the whole power narrative thing. But it's going to be interesting. I know people have played it, and I actually, it's not even breaking in. I saw fucking literally right at Gamescom. Why am I stuck when other people can talk about it, including members of the public? Forza looks really good. It looks really solid to play. Just feels right. Without having touched, you can tell, and other people are telling me.
It looked good though, really. Like, because I was worried about the visuals taking a hit. I don't know. I felt like it. What was the last Forza Motorsport?
7.
That looked incredible, man. What HDR, like that shit was incredible. So it looks
much better. It's very clean, very clean. And I think this, in terms of critical reception, I was wrong with Starfield, so I might be wrong here, but I think this might hit 90s. But you never know. It might just get the same score or potentially lower than GT. As long as it scores 1 point higher, I'll be a bitch. But even then, I think this will be... Turn 10 have done so much with the online, and they've done so much with some of the features in the game. They've gone out of their way, but I'm so glad it's got in-track ray tracing, which I know for a fact now, having seen it. But you might prefer the other... never mind, I'll break some things. But yeah, hey, Jaffe saying send him a Discord invite. He's willing to join you guys right now. Oh, wait, you guys okay? Oh, fuck! Where's my batteries? Might run out. Wait. Jaffe, I'm so grateful.
Are you not charging a battery right now?
I should fucking do it.
Come on, guys.
Prick.
I'm charging a battery as you're talking.
Jaffe, I am just sent. Jaffe, if you're still there, where is been too long since we DM'd each other, bruh. I'm going to send you, I can't wait to talk a little bit more Starfield. Extended show, everyone. If you get Jaffe on, that'll be lit. Where the fuck? Discord is so shit, man. I don't understand this fucking thing. It's so lame. Where's David? Jaffe, what the fuck is your... I'm on... wait, one second, Jaffe. Oh, there you are. Sexy beast. Boom! It's actually the same link I sent you last time. Jaffe, we got something we lit. I'm gonna fucking charge this. And we are going to get Jaffe in here. Before we, as I quickly charge this, do you guys want to talk about sex? I don't know. When you I'm trying to do this on the fly. Someone give a super chat so we can talk about shit. What is there? What else is there this week that we can fucking get lit? What actually came out this week? I'm just checking. It's just been all fucking Starfield, which we'll talk about. Baldur's Gate. Are you actually gonna fucking play Baldur's Gate, Blaze? I don't think PlayStation guys are hyping it up. They're not even gonna fucking play that game.
Listen, I'm not. If you guys are into that type of a game, me personally, I don't want to see a beer have sex with a. I'm good.
Is there? You can do more than just.
I'm good. It's not my type of game, bro. Listen. I'm sure it's really deep, and you can do a bunch of shit, and people are raving about it. It's been on PC for months. I could have played it. Already. It's not my type of game. I don't want to trash the game, but it's just not for me.
I don't know how much people will play this point and click dice game on PlayStation. I just feel like...
So I do play. I really like Baldur's Gate 3, but it is very much Dungeons and Dragons. You have to be like a nerd to a certain degree. You have to enjoy the dice roll, and it is really, really difficult. The dice roll is harsh, and you can mess up in Baldur's Gate 3 so easily. What it does better than Starfield is choice and consequence. You have so much freedom to just go in, like one of the people in your party will be having a conversation that's critical to the story, and you can just go and explode the people that are involved in that conversation, and it's fine, and it happens, and the game deals with it. Especially, at least I'm only on Act 1, so I'm in the beginning where everything is polished and all of your choices and all of the things that you do matter a lot, and it doesn't... I'm not going to say it doesn't have bugs, because every big wild game like that has bugs. You can't turn off the dice rolls. Why would you do that? But even if you do, like, just the sheer case of numbers, when I talk about it being very much a Dungeons and Dragons game, if you play like an RPG, characters typically have like hundreds or thousands of health, and it's all padded and all the numbers. That gives you a little bit of leeway to make sure that your characters feel effective, and everything is just gamified for a console or a PC. And you play Baldur's Gate 3, it follows the tabletop rules, and your character will have like 14 health, and one hit might kill it, and you'll be targeting an enemy, and you'll have like a 35% chance to hit, and you just have to deal with these things that are a little bit foreign in the game playing space, unless you happen to play Dungeons and Dragons styled games. So Baldur's Gate 3 with the PlayStation audience might land a little bit funny, despite being brilliant. At the same time, you look at the critical reception and all the rest of it, everybody seems to love it. So it'll probably be all right. Doesn't that make you want to play it, Blaze?
If that was a multi-plat game, would they be as excited for it? Just a question.
It is now. I don't know, because it is a multi-plat game now, right?
Technically, they have a Tomb Raider deal. They're gonna play it a few weeks earlier. But whatever. It's just that I don't. It's more of a PC centric game. I'm not trying to like put PC in this pocket, but that's all. It's a PC centric game. That's how I look at it. That's how I view it.
It's not wrong,
if you're into that shit,
it's very tabletop.
Yeah, if you're into it, man, enjoy it, bro. That's what it's about. It's if you like it, fuck it. If you like it, I love it.
We've almost got Jaffe there. He's got a virtual cam up. Gaz has disappeared though, which is a little bit confusing.
I can't fucking find my charger, but I think I've still got 2 bars. I think we can make some memes even for a few minutes. What's a virtual cam?
Guys, can I ask you what you have a show at 4 or 5 o'clock, okay? Instead of sitting around drinking tea and eating biscuits and beans all day, get a try, prepare yourself. I mean, this is so unprofessional, really. The Solid Cast would never run the show like this ever.
I went to see my girlfriend this morning.
Oh, and Gaz, did you know? Swear to God, I spoke to Solid Rev about your podcast idea.
Yeah.
He said, okay, let's have a podcast tonight. Tell him. But you were in Gamescom, and I didn't end up calling him. But
what?
But you were in Gamescom anyway, so you weren't going to be able to do it regardless, right? But the point
I
is,
was in Gamescom.
I did run it by him, and he said, "Where, on my channel, your channel, his channel, what?" So
whatever.
Things are moving a little bit.
I thought it was your channel.
If it's my channel, you're gonna have to convert. How many people you got watching? 600 people over to my channel. I need all your clout.
Chat.
I don't got any.
Shut the fuck up. Of course you do. Chat. We would invade that chat. We would get cancelled, bro, because we're old
It would be a nice show. It would be a real fucking show.
It'd be a wicked show. It'd be a wicked show. That would just be mad. If you put David Jaffe in between all of that madness, it would fucking get cancelled straight away. I can't find my charger, bro. Like, we're not even gonna fucking look and stress about it. But yeah, what's Jaffe doing? Get in here. Get in here. I'm gonna read the chat. But smash the like button, man. There's over 600 of you. You didn't even hardly hit. Oh, you have. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Thank you, chat. Our Starfield review will be out tomorrow. My written review is on GameOnDaily.com. But I will embellish a lot more on some of the elements, which I didn't.
Does Jaffe wear glasses?
No, he doesn't. Jaffe doesn't wear glasses.
Well, maybe.
What? Why do you ask that? Why? Because the source. I hope he's there in the background hearing all of this. What is Jaffe doing? Actually, maybe he's messaged me. No, he hasn't.
He was getting a soda. He said, a Coke.
Oh, is that what he said? Oh, yeah. Fuck. I can't see all that messages. But yeah, man, like Xbox. I will say this on Starfield: despite all the console war noise, Xbox is in good stead as a result of Starfield. It shows that Xbox has a brand new AAA first party exclusive. Yes,
new IP
from Bethesda, no less, that you can't get on PlayStation. And when it's come out, 87 Meta may not have set the world on fire, but it's still an incredible game. Fallout 4 is, the Fratanga says very well, it's just deemed as a classic, yet people don't think about its Metascore, really. Starfield, in my opinion, is a way better game, and he DM'd me saying...
Bethesda's always been in the good graces of everybody, man, so I don't understand where this hate for Bethesda, like...
It's happened when there he is. Wow, very different setup. Very different setup. You got I say very different setup. Your mic sounds a bit awful. Even though you've got,
I can fix the mic. Is it too high?
No, it's like a little crackly.
It's gone now. Crackle's gone.
Hang on, I know what it is. I think I know what it is. I'm playing Starfield on the other screen. Let me kill that. I gotta get a new capture card.
I'm used to the lights off in Jaffe setup. You know, it's usually a darker tone.
What the fuck is that in front of the camera? It looks like an organ from 1993.
This?
You got a Shure SM7B. You've upgraded the sounds finally.
I didn't upgrade shit. Colin Moriarty saw fit to after his buddy's grave was danced on. He said, "Now I'm gonna buy." They sent me a mic because I've been doing a bunch of. Last Stand Media stuff, so which I appreciate very, very much because it gives me this. Hey, everybody, welcome to the sauce. You know, I have been wondering about Gaz lately. He came to me the other day and he says, you know, I'm thinking very much about asking this woman to marry me. I said, what's her name? He said, Marie Antoinette. I said, buddy, she's dead. He says, I don't care. I want to fuck the corpse all night long. Everybody come to the wedding. All right, anyway, here we go.
Blaze's reaction.
Fuck you, Mike, in the chat. Mike says, from Gene to this, fuck you, motherfucker. You'll get what you like and you'll say thank you for it. All right. I like how anyway, what's up, fellas?
What do you say? How you like what?
Oh, I was going to say, I like how Mike has this little childlike avatar from like the little Mr. and Mrs. series. It's like he's diddling people in his basement underage, and he's coming at me, telling me that I'm the fucking problem. Suck a bag of dicks.
Maybe
Mike.
He was just observing, like, this is how versatile the show is. We get very outspoken.
I think Mike's going to burn in hell. Anyway, fellas, what's been up? How's life?
I thought I had a fucking mouth on me. Holy shit.
You're goddamn right, sir. You're goddamn right. I've been playing a pirate in Starfield, so I'm really into my character right now, you see.
You've been murdering people on the moon, huh?
You know what I love? I love that there are people out there watching this show and they're kind of going, I liked this before he got on. He has such a mouth on him. I'm leaving. And it's like, dude, shut up. Just fucking relax. It's Saturday.
What the fuck? Who is saying that? I'm not saying that.
I'm just making up. I'm making up characters in my head, fellas.
I think you are.
No, I wasn't murdering people on the moon. What happened was I found this. I want to say it was on like Venus. I found this kind of out of the way place that had a dead dude who was carrying body parts in like coolers, like contraband. And so I'm like, oh, this is going to be worth a lot of fucking ducats, and so I'll take it. And then it's in my ship, and it's like, hey, be careful. If you land anywhere where they scan you, you're fucked. And I'm like, all right. So I went to a moon. I think it was the moon of Earth. And I built a little small base there, and I just started storing all my contraband there, including dead body parts. So when I figure out how to land somewhere where I can sell it, I'll know where to go to get it, because I didn't want to, you know.
You could actually do that, because I think you can connect the cargo. Actually, there's a way to connect your base to transport stuff. You have to actually build a base in a certain way that you can actually transport stuff to your ship. So you may be able to launder.
I can get it on my ship. I can't land the ship anywhere that, at least right now, that I have found where I can legally land when they scan my ship and discover contraband. But I believe there's an upgrade for your ship that you can kind of put up a blocker. But I don't know. It is what it is. But it's a goddamn blast. I have not played a game this consistently. I mean, I started playing it at 5 o'clock when it came out on Thursday, whenever it was. I didn't stream it all yesterday because I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm playing this all day, all night. I played till like 1 a.m. And then I got up way too early. But I'm like, ooh, I can play Starfield. And so I got up, and I've been playing it since I got on with you guys. So, you know, and for me, that is rare. I don't do that with games. I play a couple of hours, and either I get the gist and I move on to another game, or I come back, but in little tiny bites. But this, I'm just like eating the whole fucking thing, man.
I'm going to say I'm with you. I don't really visit a game until after I've completed it. But I feel like I've literally got the whole game and then some's worth to complete, because I mainlighted the quests. There's so much side stuff. I think it's going to be... what's your perception on the critical reception for this game? Do you think the reviews are generally on the... Well, you haven't completed it, so there's a bit...
I haven't completed it. I mean, the one thing I appreciated from the reviews was sort of... And I did read Gene's and stuff. There aren't a lot of reviews I'll read. I'll just skim them and look at the score. That's all I care about. But, you know, there were a lot of people saying, go through the quest first. And so other than a couple little deviations, because I was just curious where it was going to go, that's what I've been doing, and I've been loving it. But I'm getting antsy because I'm banking all these quests. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. You know, so you know. But what I will say is, I think it is wonderful. It is one of the best things I've played this year. I don't know if it sustains my interest like it has been through the main quest, and I'm like 15 hours in right now. It'll be easily game of the year for me, or at least top 3. Just excellent game. But there are, I mean, I think it's incredibly, not everywhere, but its production value is shit. It isn't ugly.
Really?
I don't even know why people say that. Now, if you're playing on a high-end PC, okay, maybe, but I'm playing on an Xbox Series X, okay?
Same.
How can you say really? Even Gene is on the chat a couple of seconds ago going, these faces are horrible.
It's inconsistent, but the lighting, I mean, the screenshots that I've shared don't even...
Things that aren't pretty about it. Of course there are. Yeah. But when you get off, like when I took that video yesterday, when I was on some, you know, it looked like sort of African safari planet, it was horrible looking. It looked like, you know, PS3 graphics, and you look at the ground. I don't know what you guys are playing. Maybe there's
some bad textures here and there.
Yeah, you look at the ground and it's like old school way of doing things, where it's just like they took a picture of the grass from the top down and then they just laid flat cards, and it's not like 3D or anything. It's really weird. I don't know why you're making that face. I mean, it's easy to show you. It's all over the fucking place. But
I've got clips I could show you. There are
absolutely beautiful areas of the game. I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm not saying like people say, oh, what about the interiors? Like I like when you go to the Constellation Lodge. I think that's a really nice section of the map. You know, there are parts
of the procedurally generated stuff. It's not bad. I mean, I played this game for about 60 hours, and nothing came across to me like, ooh, that's ugly. Ugly is a strong word.
It's not. It is a strong word, and it's an ugly game, and 50% of it is. But there are some beautiful. And again, I love it. But if you can see the environments doing that, and you can see the character models, which look terrible, and not the ones that are like Sarah and you and all that, but the NPCs look.
NPCs are not that great.
I mean, they're hideous. They're unacceptable. And if Jim Ryan had gotten his way and made this a first party, this would not have shipped this way. Right?
Really?
This is
that's giving too many flowers to Jim Ryan, in my opinion.
I don't know. Jim Ryan
Sony,
can choke on the fucking flowers. I'm not walking around, you know, shooting sunshine up Ryan's butt most days. But in the case of Sony, though, there is a level of standards where I don't know what you guys are. The only thing stranger than your face right now, Gaz, are the faces in Starfield, because the face that you're making implies that it's like, Jaffe, you're reaching. And I'm like, dude, go look on the internet. Their eyes are bugging out of their fucking face. Their tech Gene is right. It's borderline racist. You see these black characters or other people of color, and I'm waiting for, you know, Amos and Andy to come around the corner and do a little minstrel show. It's and I'm not saying they're racist, but I'm saying it has that kind of, you know, in the South, it's a horrible thing they do in the South. A lot of things they do in the South are terrible, but they have those lawn jockeys that for a long time were blackface people. It has that feeling of like a black lawn jockey from sort of Jim Crow era with some of these characters. I don't think I'm not saying. I don't have to tell you, go look on the internet. But that said, though,
I'm fucking playing the fucking game.
I'm playing it too.
No, he's right. Guys, he's right that yes,
There's
the
some
NPCs,
bits, but not
the
comprehensively bad.
But the NPCs were gonna be the most lackluster thing. Everybody expected that with a Bethesda game. Like they weren't gonna be as detailed.
And I still love it. It's one of my top 3 games of the year. So I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying it's a objectively ugly game in a lot of parts.
I got to ask Jaffe, let me ask. I insist that I get to say a few words. I just need to ask, if Sony had this game then, if Sony were the first party publisher of this game and they were going to fix the NPCs, would they do it by making all of those NPCs better or making there less NPCs?
I think that really depends on the team. Let's assume that the team Let's assume that the team put the number of NPCs they wanted on the screen, and that was their priority, which makes sense. I don't think Sony would come in and say, you have to get rid of your NPCs, but they would say, you know, that milestone check for, 4 milestones before alpha, y'all ain't getting paid until this fucking shit gets fixed. So whether or not they adjust the art style to be able to put that many characters that still look really good on screen, or whether it's a technical issue or what, I don't know what to tell you, but it is unacceptable in 2023 when you've got a first party $1 trillion business putting this out visually. Now, I'm not like I said, I love this game. I couldn't stand for Horizon Forbidden West. I think it's one of the most beautiful games ever made, and I couldn't play it for more than an hour and a half. Bored the shit out of me. So I'm not. This is not a console war thing. I don't give a fuck about that stuff. I'm just saying that it's categorically. There's a lot of ugly in this fucking game. You ever see that movie Wonder about the kid who hit his face and put it on behind the helmet? That's what this should be. They should have made this like a Wonder brand and just put a helmet on all the NPCs because they're terrible. The best NPC I saw was a guy called the Hunter. You met the Hunter, right?
He's got a fucking mask.
He's got a mask, but he talks like Boba Fett and shit. He's really cool. He's like hanging out in the coffee shop and he's like, "What's up on the Hunt?" I love that guy. But anyway, I think it's ugly. But that said, though, so as back to your question about the reviews, though, so. I haven't read a lot of the reviews. I don't know if they're dinging them on visuals, but I think the visuals are pretty poor in a lot of places. But I also think the game is problematic when it comes to I think Cyberpunk 2077 is the world and the NPCs react to you better. Like, I found myself in that game. I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Like, I didn't want to pull out. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game, but it was a game I played in the last 18 months, and I think it was Cyberpunk, but it was like a sandbox, open world kind of thing. And if you pull your gun out in the wrong situation, the cops come. Or if you get caught, you have to kind of roll the world and how it responds to you force me to play differently. In this game, I'm literally stealing things from people and they say, hey, blah, blah, blah. Nothing happens.
It cannot be Cyberpunk. It cannot be Cyberpunk. We must be thinking of something else.
But the regardless of Cyberpunk, though, the fantasy that was sold was this was going to be kind of like, you can live in this world. And I love this game.
Where are you getting that from? Because to me, it was a Bethesda game in space. That premise that this was going to be a game where I don't understand. This was always a Bethesda game in space.
I don't have that frame of reference, though. I've never played a Bethesda game in terms of these kind of games for more than 3 hours. So I don't come to it going, I know what I'm getting into. I saw the hype and read the articles and read the GQ British version with Todd Howard and all that. And it was like, you can do whatever you want, and you can be this, and you can be that, and you can do this, and you can do that. And sure, a lot of that's marketing and hyperbole, but I expected more of a world that seemed to emergently respond to my big decisions. But I'm trying to think, there was something I did last night where I know what it was. It was I'm not going to spoil it for people at all, but it was sort of the Christopher Nolan-y section when you first get to that thing and you're like, oh, this is fucking awesome. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And the minute I left that, I'm with one of my crew, and I love that. I love you can build your crew, and I got like 7 people flying around with me now. It's very cool. But the minute I walked outside after this incredible life-changing experience, and she was saying, oh my God, when we were inside. We come outside and I click on her. She's like, what do you want to talk about?
And I'm like,
what are you talking about? Did you see what just happened? Are you out of your fucking mind? So there is when a game like this presents itself as a simulation, and it presents itself as sort of a flat screen version of the holodeck versus something like Uncharted or Spider-Man or God of War. Those, and especially when the marketing helps propel that line to the masses who are going to pay for it, there is that expectation. And I don't think the game has done anywhere near as much as I thought it would on fulfilling it. But all of that said, though, those are all little, whatever. And there's bugs. There's not bugs like classic bugs, but there's it's like, here's something else Sony would never do. They have the AI pathfinding, and I'm spending a lot of time with Sarah because I want her to be my girlfriend and I love her. Sony does, they try to hide the illusion really well, where it's like if they have to pop a character somewhere because you're moving too fast or you've done some weird spatial navigation, this game's just like, Sarah's over there and now I climb up and jump here. Oh look, she warped over there. And again, I don't care. It's not a game breaker. I'm just talking about sort of Sony at a production level, I think, has raised the bar on expectations for what a first-party game is. Now, does that mean Microsoft can't come in and say, we're not playing by those rules? We are gambling that gamers will love this. Even they would rather have the kind of the bugs and some of the jank because they get this. Because Sony doesn't have a game like this as far as the eye can see. Sony needs a game like this. So I'm just saying that there is a weird thing when you go to someone and say, review this, and people are used to reviewing these astoundingly gorgeous games and astoundingly high production value games. And this is a great fucking game. My guess is it's probably going to be a better game than Spider-Man 2 in terms of just interesting systems and mechanics and things like that. But is the audience going to go along for that ride? Are they going to be able to put gameplay out of graphics? I hope so, but you can't act like this is at the same level of Sony stuff.
I would disagree there in the sense that you do
have to reframe it though. Like I'm also, because you say that you can't say that it's on the same level as Sony stuff, but you've also just said yourself there that Sony stuff isn't on the same level as this, and that's the same conversation. So,
well, it's the same conversation about a different thing. This game is prioritizing gameplay over production value, right? Sony stuff, usually the gameplay is good enough at worst. Sometimes it's sublime, but it's usually just between those two. But the production value is second to none. So I'm not saying, if I had to choose, I'd go gameplay. But Gaz is asking about the reviews, and I have to imagine if you're a professional reviewer and these are the waters in which you swim, where most games these days do prioritize, at least at a AAA level, production over gameplay, then you're probably going to be giving it a little lower scores because it's not meeting that standard. But back in the day, GamePro used to break it up into like graphics, sound, gameplay, fun factor, whatever. If this was GamePro and they were to say graphics 3, sound would be 5, fun factor and gameplay would be 5, because the sound is fucking beautiful. Not just the soundtrack, which is beautiful, but the ambiance and the Foley, and it's just it's wonderful sounding game. So
I would see the thing on the hit and this preconceived notion that reviewers will put finesse over gameplay or whatever you called it. Sony's games, you talk about this whole thing about Sarah just magically popping up. I'm reminded of Ghost of Tsushima, where your horse suddenly appears out of nowhere when you whistle and things like that.
It does not do that though. It does not do that. If you've seen, it doesn't, because that's what I'm saying. But maybe I'm communicating poorly. I'm not saying that Sony's games don't do shortcuts, but in Ghost, unless there is a incredibly difficult rare fix, they make sure that horse is spawned where you're not.
They do a better job of hiding it.
Right. So it'll appear behind you. Sure, it'll come running up, but Sarah will be here. And then I'll jump and I'll turn and clear, and then pop, she's just there. Like she's popping in and out of existence.
But when you compare the complexity of the two games, like they're not even comparable when it comes to Sony's games. Like you take in Starfield, I did a bit where it's not spoiler territory, one mission where I could have gone it like option. I managed to hack a PC. In this ship, there were cages of caged aliens in there, and I released those aliens.
Cool.
And it was amazing. Like I could have missed this room, and I did it, and managed to lockpick, like do some hacking thing, and then just the gates opened up, and I can hear in multiple layers of this ship the combat happening. I can hear people screaming. I'm nowhere near the game. The game is drawing these instances dynamically. And then I've gone up and I have seen the battle has actually taken place. The people have died where they shouldn't have died. It was completely dynamic. Aliens, I could see how far the aliens got, which was very far to this main character. And the guys who were proper geared up, I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, had managed to take out these group of these aliens. And the aliens were pretty strong. If I were there, I would have probably died. That kind of Sony doesn't do that. Sony hasn't got a single game like that systematically. Now, if Sony were to take a view on it, and Jim Ryan's like, they were like, well, fuck it. Like, on the one hand, you're saying Sony need a game like that. Sony, if they even had the benefit of having a game like that exclusive, I'm pretty sure they were like, well, fuck it. Who gives a shit about the NPCs? We've got a game that technically exceeds anything we have.
Technically, no. What you've just described is not. If you're talking about production value,
there are fuck tons of physical items there. You can so much shit. You can pick up everything. I was listening on the podcast. People complaining about you can pick up everything, which is optional, which is so fucking stupid. You have all that physics-based stuff. You go back after hours to that planet, and the bodies are still there. You've got all this dynamism, and Sony hasn't got a single game that does that.
I don't disagree with that. I think, and this is really the problem. Is that, and look, anybody who knows me, I ain't nuanced, right? But it is it comparatively speaking to a lot of people who talk about video games, my position is perhaps a bit more nuanced than most, which is not saying a lot, in the sense that I'm not disagreeing with you. I like these kinds of games more. I don't care that much about cinematic games anymore. They don't really interest me anymore. I love Spider-Man as a character. I love Insomniac, so I'm excited, but there's nothing they showed in the trailer that really, for the most part, looks mechanically rich and interesting, and I would take mechanically rich and interesting any day over production value. But I also think, you have to take into a, you don't have to, we'll see how it does, right? But you have to take into account, in my opinion, if you're Sony, if they're going to do a game like this, they have a lot more experience with figuring out how to make something look as good as possible. I mean, you're talking about an engine with Bethesda that is old as fuck. Sony would do this in Unreal 5 probably, or Decima or whatever. They've just built that culture around that being one of their pillars. And again, if I have to choose gameplay over graphics, I'll go Microsoft. Absolutely. But to act as if it's all or nothing, I just don't.
Yeah, but over
that.
one game, Jaffe, what other gameplay are you choosing for Microsoft when you choose gameplay over graphics?
In terms of this first party decision is what I'm talking about.
Gotcha. Okay.
Although I was happy to hear Pete Hines say, because I thematically loved Redfall, but I thought it was a boring as fuck game, and I played it for about 4 hours and I never went back to it. And then he gave a quote yesterday saying that we're not only not, in other words, we are doing the 60 frame patch, which was not the problem for me. I don't give a fuck about that. But he's like, this for us is like another Fallout 76. We are going to stick with this. We are going to turn this around. We're not going to abandon the game just because it launched poorly. There's a diamond in the rough here. And that's respectful. I love that. I love hearing that, because I do think that there is potential in that game. So I like what Microsoft is doing. I'm a Microsoft fan this generation more than I've ever been a Microsoft fan. But, you know, I think all I'm saying is if Sony were to have picked this game up first party, it would not have gone out looking as terrible as this.
I really want to know if you're saying that they would have neutered it in any way. Would they have just poured more money at it and more resources to make it look better, or would they have scaled back?
It's not about the money. It's I think really what it is. The real question is, I don't remember. I know this game's been in development for a while. I don't know when Jim Ryan made the offer, or what was it still early enough to have them switch over to like an internal engine, or that would have added 3 more years. I'm sure that would have been the first thing they would have said. It's like, let's try to get this off this archaic engine and get it over here. And then they also...
With Bethesda and Todd Howard, they would have respected this man's pedigree. No way would they.
They wouldn't. I don't think they would have got him to change their engine, though.
I can't see that happening.
Okay,
Jaffe.
then Todd Howard's a fucking moron when it comes to this thing.
Man, he created these fucking incredible games. You can't neuter a creative like that. It's almost
Who's asking them to neuter it? No one's saying neuter it. No one's saying...
That's very invasive, what you're suggesting, that Sony would have that say, hey, by the way, we need to move off from this engine.
Welcome to business. Welcome to life.
I'm just saying,
to commerce. I mean, if a company comes in and they say, we're going to buy this, we're going to fund this before both parties agree, I'm sure that, and if a sticking point for Todd and Pete Hines would have been, we're not changing our engine, then they probably the deal would have been dead in the water. But why the fuck would Todd Howard not want to change his fucking engine? It's terrible.
It's got a whole legacy.
It's a very dated engine for sure. No, we can't fight against that.
I became a From Software fan only after I got my PS5, and I died, but the respawn was so instant that, unlike playing it on PS4 or whichever Bloodborne on PS4, that delay of like, that frustration of dying over and over, and then you have to wait 30 seconds to get back in.
You're back in the action, right?
Right. Yeah. The fact that in Starfield, people are not going, okay, it's a brilliant game, but come on. It's 2023, and there are so many loads, and they're not like little quick loads, like and you're in. It's like 8 seconds sometimes to get to just an interior, and so if you're Todd Howard and you're like, no, we're good. It's like, no, you're not. Fuck you.
I'm not saying they're impervious to there are some real criticisms. The menu and the game loading thing is something that I said it in my review, completely removes it from the conversation, in my opinion, from game of the generation, which a lot of people seem to have taken issue of, whatever. But I just... Well, look, Jaffe, I respect your pedigree in this space. You have worked under Sony, and I'm not being flippant in disregarding or disagreeing it. I'm sitting here thinking about what you're saying. I just find it difficult that even Sony would have compelled Todd Howard to remove. And you say Todd Howard is being really up his own ass by sticking to... It's deeper than that. You can't... Your team has been
own ass. But I didn't say that. I said if Sony came in and said, we would, in order to do this deal with you, though, we have to switch you guys over to a new engine because, even Phil Spencer talking to Destin at IGN the other day is like, part of our job that we've dropped the ball on, Spencer said, is that we haven't really communicated well to these companies we've acquired what it means to be a first party title, right? In terms of quality and bar and all that stuff. So Sony would have come in and said, look, if you want to do this deal, part of it is we can't release games where your NPCs look like this. It's ridiculous. It's kind of like having a great roller coaster at Disneyland, but no theming. Disneyland would never do that. Six Flags would do that. Busch Gardens would do that, but Disneyland.
Are you saying if this was like a first party game, if it was strictly if it was only under Sony?
Second party. I mean,
okay, second party, but exclusive to
Jim Ryan tried to make this an exclusive game before Microsoft bought Bethesda.
Went after it, right?
Yeah, and so I'm saying that I can't, and I don't know if it was Jim or Sean, but regardless, this level of visual inconsistency would not fly at Sony. That's not an insult. That's a good thing. That's one of the things Sony does really well. It's like
I completely agree with you. I'm just disagreeing with how I think Sony would have handled it, because I think Sony would have loved the opportunity.
They would have looked at the resume and said, "No, you guys got."
I
think you know what? I actually think, Jaffe. I reckon Microsoft gave them an extra year to cook because they were feeling the pressure on this. I don't even think Sony would have done that. In my opinion, I reckon Sony would have just fucking let them release. I don't even think they would be that invasive to say the NPCs change it, the engine change it. I just don't see that.
You may not see it. I still know Scott Rhodey. I know Connie Booth. I know some of the producers who work for them.
And that's where I divert to your knowledge on this.
No way in God's green heaven that one of those producers would have come to Connie or Scott or whoever and said, are we going to sign off on the milestone? It's like, yeah, but man, you got to see these NPCs. I don't, this is not where
then you know more than I do. And but forget that I know the individual names. Look at the output. That's their history. They will put out really pretty things and really high production.
Here's a question. So speaking of looking at the output, so Starfield critically and commercially though, is this doing all right? Are they mistaken to impose that kind of thing on Sony's own developers and all the rest of it?
I think yes, in the sense that depending on the game, I think Sony has painted themselves into a really bad corner because the gamers have shown in the last generation a desire for more agency, whether it's Elden Ring or Cyberpunk or Starfield or whatever, Minecraft, that younger generation coming up, Tears of the Kingdom. It's still bizarre to play open world games today and not go, oh, I want to get up there. I can't. Like Tears of the Kingdom's like, yeah, fuck it. Do what you want to do. I don't give a fuck. It's like, it's like the alcoholic dad who's like asleep and the kids are like, oh, we do whatever we want. I have no idea why I went there. But
why'd you go there?
I think that's my kids just had a party.
Memories.
My kids just had a party last night. But I definitely think though that sorry, what was your question? I totally got distracted with the alcoholic story.
Like Jaffe, are you good, brother? You good?
Good. I'm going on no sleep, and my kids had a party last night, so I'm also they just left all of the sleepover kids. Anyway, what was your question about Sony first party?
Just you were saying that Sony wouldn't, they wouldn't allow this kind of thing. They would polish up the MCs. They would do this. They would do that. But Starfield, you were talking about the actual output and what's real.
Right. So I think Sony has mastered a genre of game that clearly there are a lot of people that love. Those games are getting more and more expensive, and they are one and done for the most part games, kind of like Gene was saying, and they are lucrative. They should still make them. But I think they can't continue to depend on that as much as they have. Clearly, they know that with games as a service. MLB has done great for them. It's not that kind of a game, so it's not that's all they make. But I think if they don't sort of see this emergent or this trend that has emerged via more freedom in gameplay, even if it comes at the expense of production value, I think they're going to be in a great deal of trouble. It's got to be something that's keeping them up at night already. But hopefully they've got things in the hopper.
Yeah, but they've been doing this for so long, Jaffe. Like, I think they've been making the same types of games since the end of the PS3 era. Let's just say.
True.
And it's been their bread and butter, PS4, and I just don't see them. I think they're doing so well, like you said, and they're selling so well, and people love them. Even if they're one and done, I just don't see them going too far off. I do agree they need something different.
It's not an argument; it's happening. They're funding more games as service games, than they are the one and done games. They clearly know that the tides are changing. The question is, are they only changing for service games? And that's a fucking bloody Red Sea. Yep. I could see you going to Naughty Dog and Santa Monica and all their great studios and saying, give us our Tears of the Kingdom, give us our Starfield, give us our Cyberpunk. And I think they could do brilliance.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
But I think you go to them and say, give us the next Fortnite, and they are just as lost as everybody else. Because the games that have come out recently that have been genuinely good games, compelling, they play well, they're interesting, I'll still only play them for a day or two, then I move on with my fucking life and never go back. And lo and behold, 6 months later, we're shutting down Deceive Inc. or Knockout City or Rumble.
Knockout City was so good too.
It was, it was nothing wrong with it.
It's a lot of fun game. I was working on a video on that.
That's right.
Let me read these super chats. Biggity 08, thank you for being member for 3 months. Guys, why are all the ponies on here? Because we always allow everyone here.
Who's a pony, bitch? Am I a pony?
Yeah,
I think he means in the chat, actually.
I'm a gamer, motherfucker. I'm tired of this bullshit.
Blaze is a pony, but yeah.
Okay, great. But I put games.
Listen, I play everything, guys.
I do
yeah,
too.
he does. I know you do.
Fucking call me that shit. I hate that.
I don't think he's calling you that.
I will find him after school at 3:00.
I prefer first-party PlayStation games. Yes, I do. But doesn't mean
you never get this kind of chat in any other podcast. Come on.
No.
Just this is wicked. I love it. Spartan661 with the $5 super chat. I don't know if anyone realized it throughout Elder Scrolls games, but the stars and planets were so beautiful to see during the night in the game. Well, if it was according to Jaffe, it'd be a fucking supernova in 16K. Yeah? You, Jaffe.
I did. Yeah. I said it was inconsistent. That part you and I know, but that part you and I were talking about where the NPC responded like, didn't you see what just happened? That was amazing looking, and the music and the rumble, and it was just holy shit, man. This, I'm not saying there aren't moments of great beauty and imagination in this game, but they're just kind of like, it's kind of like, here's a wonderful 4-star Michelin meal, but before you eat it, you have to eat some shit from the ground.
But Jaffe, I'm sorry, the comment on the chat because Ritalin is a hell of a drug. As your rant was going on.
I took it about an hour ago, so it's probably kicked in full on, baby.
Yeah, but not all NPCs are equal. Like when you first start that game and you're talking to a couple NPCs, the lighting with the helmet, I'm like, these actually look good. Like it's the overall.
That's
NPCs, right?
Yeah, and what I love, even though it's weird, like if I had directed this game, I don't know what I would have done because I love it, but it's so uncanny is when you have the NPCs that are like on your crew or constellation that are inside the helmets, and then they have the interior lights on the helmets.
Looks so good.
It's so cool, but it also shows how flat. It almost looks like one of those Halloween things where you take a picture of your friend's face and put it in a jar and then fill the jar with water so it looks like it's their head floating. It's like it's very strange effect, but it's cool though. I love it.
It does look like very Halloween-y, kind of like ghost eye, scary eyes, kind of put a torch above. Yeah, but it looks wicked. Nintendo the Otaku with a $5 super chat. Jaffe doesn't know what he's talking about as usual. He's he's always like this, by the way.
I don't mind him, but think about what a moron he is. Is that the whole chat, the super chat?
That's the super. No. And I'm just going to go into it. He goes, Jaffe doesn't know what he's talking about as usual. The creation engine is the reason why games are beloved. It's the engine. No engine can replace it, especially with modding. What do you have to say to that, Jaffe?
I think he's a fucking moron who basically talks before he thinks and should sit down and get an education before he opens his fucking mouth. I think that's fine that he wants to waste his money to let people know how stupid he is. At least that's giving us a red flag. But the idea that the only engine that's possible to mod is the creation engine is horse shit. I mean, how many fucking... there are still Game of the Year contenders. Some people say that fucking Doom mod, the thing about going in the house and shit, which I played about an hour of, is is amazing. So don't fucking come at me and act as if, Todd Howard had this brilliant idea to mod games. You can only do it in the creation engine. There's no other place to do it. I asked Alexa. That's what she told me.
I don't agree with that either, to be honest. It's not just the creation engine is what helps this stuff, but it does not relegate exclusively to the creation engine.
That's right.
But I do feel like they've spent years working on it. Just departing from it would perhaps, and without having any insight into the history behind this game, perhaps be just so not even in the conversation because it was never really on the cards. But we will see about that. Jaffe, one of the biggest issues I have with this game, and I'm struggling at the moment live to communicate this well, and I can see and realize that, is that Starfield really fucks up on the space traversal, menus loading and stuff. And I love the manual docking. I love the coming into the atmosphere. I love to feel the sense of scale of a universe and everything, even the planet that you finally zoom in, jump into, is essentially a loading screen that you can fly around in. And I feel like Starfield missed a touch there, and I feel like even if some people think, that would be cumbersome to spend time on it, I don't think so. I think Todd Howard and co, either they consciously made that compromise, thinking, we'd love to do it, or they were just completely oblivious to it. But with space games like
I don't think they were oblivious. I think anybody in games who, back in PS1, it's like, wouldn't it be cool to be on the planet and take off and it's seamless and blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, we've seen that. We've seen that now with No Man's Sky. We've seen that in, what's the Chris Roberts Star something?
Star Citizen?
I mean, so we know it can be done. We've seen it, but it's like one of those things where after the gimmick wears off, which is what it is. I mean, it's if you look at gameplay at a abstraction level, which is what you should do when you're designing, there's nothing inherently compelling after the magic trick gets boring of going from A to B and you're just flying through some atmosphere. It's like, but it's immersive. Great. But would you rather have that, or would you rather and have them make compromises to get that, or would you rather have what they've given you? I think
depends on the compromises, though.
Well, yeah, but you're probably talking about a great amount of development time going in just to make that, which, I mean, I don't know why they did it. I can tell you that I don't miss it at all. I understand before I played it, I saw Lana Pierce's video and I was like, this looks stupid. Why would I didn't care about the invisible walls because I'm like, I'm not going to walk for 10 minutes in one direction with nothing there.
That was a bit silly, yeah.
But I was like, yeah, this is, but there are parts of the game, like right before I came on with you guys, I was having space battles in an asteroid field. And then afterwards, I took the engines out and I boarded the ship, and the ship was so fucked up that the gravity was turning on and off indiscriminately. So it went from me going through the thing, exploring, and then suddenly I'm flying and I'm like, okay, what the fuck? And it was awesome. So I don't miss it. I understand that it's part of the fantasy, but I honestly think for me, if the player had that fantasy delivered to them, I think it would get old pretty quickly. So I'm glad they did it, but I do understand that it neuters kind of the high concept a bit. There's no doubt about that, but
I think it never gets old in No Man's Sky. But I will say, Jaffe, like I said this to them, like when you see a team like No Man's Sky do it, small development team, small budget, and they can accomplish. I get the graphics are not as, you know what I mean? It's a different art.
They don't have as much variety, at least upon their launch. I mean, obviously they've had a lot of years, but they don't have as much variety of like in that. What I love about this game is it's a space adventure, whereas I think No Man's Sky, and I haven't played it much at all, only at trade shows. But what I know about it is more like a space flight simulator. But this I'd rather have the artifacts and the mystery and the Constellation Lodge and going on this sort of, Indiana Jones in space meets Interstellar that I don't think No Man's Sky provides at all. But I get it. I mean, some people are going to want that. I mean,
the similarities are very skin deep. Yeah, apart from those mechanics, No Man's Sky is very different.
I know, but you expect it from a big Bethesda, Microsoft, from all the development, all the resources. You just I guess you expect it, not more that you want it or need it. You just expect it.
Yeah, I think so, and I think they played into those expectations. I mean, I
that's the point.
I never was a big. I was, I don't mean Doom and all that stuff, but like the Todd Howard brand of RPGs. I just, I nothing against them. They never hit me at the time in my life where I could get into them and appreciate them and understand them like a lot of people. So when I was excited about this game, people were like, watch out, Todd Howard lies all the time. He's a liar. He's fucking always lying. And, I don't know much about that. I wasn't there for the 76 launch and all that. But I do think they did a pretty annoyingly solid job at not quite telling people what this was
enough to get away with it. Yeah.
Now when you look back and go, why wasn't it at Gamescom, or why wasn't there more demos going out to the press? I think they were like, we believe in this game. We love this game. But if we put this out first and this discourse happens too soon, it's going to take a lot of wind out of our sails. So, but they did lead us to believe it was going to be that. So I get why people would be disappointed. I'm curious about Game Pass with this because, I'm curious because I don't know if this is the mainstream banger that they need to keep people from churning. I love it. I know a lot of people love it. And maybe and I heard you talking about the Steam stats. So maybe there are tons of people that are just going to love this day one and there's no problem. But I look at it and I go, I didn't have a problem with it starting slow, but people complain that it starts slow. There are no guardrails put up. So if you go off the reservation, that's a terribly racist thing to say these days. If you go off the beaten path and you do all these side quests because you just, why not? You're going to find yourself stuck in the mire of this kind of, the momentumless experience for a while. And so I could see a lot of people subscribing to Game Pass and then churning out because it's like, I played it for 5 hours and I'm done. I'm not resubbing. And I love Game Pass. I think it's transformative for the industry, but I do worry that this, and then if you look at Forza, what's the next Forza coming out?
Motorsport.
Yeah, both of these are pretty core games, and I hope they have something. I don't know if the Microsoft deal is going to go through with Activision before the holidays, but it sure would be nice for them, for Game Pass, to also go, and hey, this Christmas, day one, you may not get the new COD because there's already pre-orders. Maybe you will, I don't know. But we're going to also make sure we've got some exciting stuff that doesn't require you to sort of be. Starfield has a really, it's not welcoming.
Mass appeal.
It has a mass appeal, but it doesn't have a mass appeal in the way I think Game Pass needs. They need something that's like a Gears of War mass appeal. The thing
is, they've got the benefit. I mean, there's no mad urgency to get that. The roadmap suggests all of that. Even if the deal doesn't go ahead, which you're pretty confident it will. They've also, I think Phil Spencer has confirmed that Call of Duty will take some time. It won't be immediately, by the way. Even the deal went through way before. But even that, irrespective of Activision Blizzard, you'll still have your Gears. You'll still have your mass market. I know there's a lot of pressure on it. I also think, Jaffe, that, or hope, that the audience, and this goes back to your point about Sony's one and done bangers, and I feel like I'm surprised by the sustained interest, critical reception of it, and just general sustained interest in these bangers, in these what I feel like are beautiful looking games, but mechanically don't really push the needle at all.
Well, bangers don't have to be Sony cinematic stuff. I mean, to me, a banger would be a Call of Duty or a Madden. Like, hey, play Madden for free. I mean, I'm playing it for 10 hours because I have EA Ultimate with the trial. But it doesn't have to be one of the Sony things, but something that's just easier to get into. Like Hi-Fi Rush would have done it if it wasn't. It's a little weird with the rhythm stuff and the cartoony art.
And it came out of nowhere too.
Yeah, it did. But I'm talking about more just the average person that considers themselves just kind of a gamer, like a gamer bro guy, can vibe with it. I don't think, that's what.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't have the answers to that.
Yeah.
that will be interesting to observe.
I got a question, guys, real quick, because I always said, "Oh, Microsoft just needs like one to get the people, you know, the so-called ponies, the so-called ponies on the other side." You know what I mean? Like, but it's like even with this game coming out, and even with it getting an 87 or 88, even people wanted a 90, which is ridiculous. Like, it's still a great score, but I feel like I always told myself they just need one, and then people will be like, you know what, hell yeah, they're back in rhythm, but like still people are continuously like finding a way to like speak about everything negative, and just it's just unfortunate. I'm like, damn, like you would think this was the game to put like just the other side, maybe people that were on the fence, like, oh, do I want Game Pass? I've had a PlayStation last gen. You know, it's just unfortunate that people like.
Well, I mean, they're a minority. The fact of the matter is, I don't mean they're a minority.
Right. No,
like,
come on.
Race. It's like, oh, you know, those types. You know,
to qualify.
Yeah, but I mean that they're a minority in the sense that I think most people are like what you're suggesting. Like for me, what I think is amazing is if you are a core gamer, and I did a video about this the other day because I just, you know, I know how hard my dad worked growing up. We did not have a lot of money towards, you know, the second part of my childhood. And, you know, I loved games so much, and we just didn't have the money to buy all the stuff that I wanted. And that a dad can come home or a mom can come home, and it doesn't have to be that scenario, but somebody can come home and say, oh, look, we can't afford an Xbox. I can't get you a high-end PC, but you have an iPad. Here's a $15 sub for the month for Game Pass for Christmas. And the world opens up if you play it on cloud. If you have good internet, not great internet, but good internet. I've been playing Sea of Stars on my iPad in bed at night, and it's fucking great. And so I think a lot of people are going to come to Game Pass this Christmas and see that. It's not that I'm taking a shit on Microsoft. I just think that they, you know, in the same way I can push on Sony and say they need more single player emergent agency driven games. I think Microsoft needs a couple of games that are very easy to get into. Like even if they just went to EA this Christmas and said, hey, can we have Dead Space remake for Game Pass? Not have it, but we'll pay you for it. And this Christmas, anybody who gets Game Pass, you know, it's like, oh, because that's a simple to get into, wonderful fucking game that feels that lives in the definition of banger, is like I was talking about. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good position to be in.
Definitely going on there though, because it's EA, right? So it's definitely going there in a way. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's a good position to be in because there was a lot of discourse and concern about Game Pass and the kind of games that would appear on it. But really what you're getting are some very terribly diverse big budget games. You've got Hi-Fi Rush, which is an action beat rhythm game. You've got a space RPG that's very deep. You've got Avowed, which is another type of RPG. You've got Hellblade, which is a third-party game. You've got Forza Motorsport. You've got freaking Perfect Dark, whenever that comes out. You've got, Horizon. You've got Fable, which is a big RPG game. So all that narrative about these like massively reduced in scope and this narrative that Colin Moriarty.
Yeah, but guess that list
is of a reductive experience doesn't seem to be anywhere remotely in the roadmap.
No, but I think the problem is like the list is huge and substantial, and there's a lot of big games on there. But like, are they going to come out and be received?
In quality?
In quality. That's the problem. Like you have the list is huge, but do they come out? Are they on time? Are they polished? Are they ready to go? Shit like that. But like I always said, once the snowball effect happens with Xbox and games start getting ready and they start releasing, I think they'll be fine. They'll be just fine. Like I'm like I said, I always say this: id Software. Who knows? Like if they're making another Doom, like I cannot wait.
Or they're making Halo. They should reboot Halo. I know a lot of people disagree with that. That's fine, but
they should.
Another Wolfenstein. Like, are you kidding me? Like this is shit. Like sign me up.
Although I would say sign me up again as well, but I have to get an extra job to pay for my PS Plus membership that just went up.
No shit.
Which you would think they had Starfield. You would think they'd be like, look, motherfucker. We have one of the games of the year. You want it?
They added nothing. There's no incentive.
You would think they had Spider-Man 2. It's like, I know there's a hard pill to swallow, but guess what? Spider-Man 2, day one. Nothing. But when you're ruling the roost, you can make the calls. But
that's what I said to guys. When you're the fucking market leader, you just kind of do it, and it is what it is.
And exactly why it's why you need Microsoft in this space.
David Jaffe, did you pre-order that PlayStation Portable?
Oh God, no.
Yeah, but hold on. But you just said, it was nice to play Sea of Stars in bed. That's like exactly what it's for.
No, it's not.
Then what is it for?
Well, it's nice to play Sea and Stars in bed with the shit I already have, but it's not nice to basically. So you're saying you already own an iPad? Yeah. Why? Look, they have said that PS Portable or whatever it's called, Portal, is going to eventually be able to pull and stream from the cloud and not just your PS5.
Right.
Maybe then, but even then it's stupid. It's like, dude, people have phones. Like, don't you guys have phones? People have phones. They have iPads. They have streaming to their television. I don't want to buy another fucking peripheral, Sony. Just fucking do it. You can do it. Just fucking do it. Here's something else I learned working from Sony. And this does not seem to have changed, which blows my mind. They will greenlight stuff just because they think it's cool. And it's still an engineering company first and foremost. And then a lot of times marketing's given it, and it's like, figure out how to sell this piece of shit, right? It's like, did the world really want a PSVR 2? Don't come at me in the chat. I know it's great. I don't have that, but I have pretty much all other headsets. I love VR. I love AR. I'm not knocking it, but come on. Who really thought that PSVR 2 needed to happen unless there's a tax write-off?
Yeah, but you didn't see that just as a natural,
Not given how unsuccessful the first one proved to be. I mean, it wasn't unsuccessful like they lost tons of money, but it didn't do.
Yeah, but they were leading the market for a very long time with that.
Like
I know it's neat.
Even
I know.
then, though, it's only just like, this thing's freaking cool. Let's make it. That's fun, and it's like the least wise business
thing. I want to play on what I already own. Or you know what you really should do, Sony? Go back and make a fucking video game phone right with a like your PS Vita clamshell, and it slides out and it's got controls and shit, and you actually have streaming to it and you have first party exclusive games. Then we can talk. But putting out this fucking little useless, I think it's dead in the water. Would you want a proprietary
like a Vita 2? Would that would have been up your alley? I mean, I know that's what I wanted.
That's cool, but no, I don't. The idea of carrying around a separate portable game system makes.
Well, I'll never take that shit. Yeah, I mean, listen, the days of putting shit in your pocket and going to the park like the commercials, I just never used my shit like that. It was either on the couch or whatever. But yeah, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, but I mean, your mileage will vary. I'm also 52 years old, so my eyes ain't what they used to be, and so I don't like playing. I don't want to play Sea of Stars on my phone. But I'll play it on my iPad because, it's nice and big and stuff, right? So, and again, I'm not trying to take anything away from people. If somebody wants to fucking buy it, buy it. I don't care. But, if you're going to ask in my opinion, I think it's stupid. I imagine how much money was spent on that, right? I'm not saying it broke the bank, but you probably could have squoze out one more AAA game that they could have funded, or maybe a couple of day one Game Pass originals. Like, hey, give us a God of War spinoff. Give us a 2.5D God of War Metroidvania. We'll spend, a fifth of the money on that. You really fucking, I would have rather had them do that than a fucking.
And Sony had this problem last PS3 generation where they had their hands in everything. The VIO laptops, they were just making everything.
Fucking controllers, which are stupid, so fucking dumb. Ugh. Anyway,
I do agree with you that the PSVR 2 seems like it's dead in the water. And I agree that it's nice that Sony have this. Time will tell. I don't have any definite. You just by default because of your fucking love for it. But I would say, like,
how often do you play that?
A couple times a week.
But these guys
play
are
a couple
weird,
times
Jaffe.
a week.
They're fucking weird. Both of them fucking wank off in PSVR. Actually, wanking in PSVR is actually
excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Oh yeah, that's the shit.
I mean, people say there's not enough software, but like they've already released 6 games?
Yeah, no, it's not that there's not enough software. It's that for me, and I think for most people, the software doesn't offer anything after the gimmick wears off that's worth the headache or the cost.
Yeah.
The one thing I can tell you I do regularly in VR, even though you wouldn't know it by looking at me, but that's because my diet is shit. But I play a racquetball game in VR, and I play it in my living room, and I can't get that experience anywhere else, even in a racquetball court, because it's kind of sci-fi gamified racquetball, and I don't have to have somebody to play against, and it's a great workout. So my MetaQuest 2 is always charged, but there's a reason for it. But if I want to go on a big adventure like I would rather play a game that's flat screen like Starfield than a 3D game that is just kind of, a third of the ambition and system-based design and cleverness that you get in most VR games.
And I think most people. But Jaffe, that's the problem, because they don't allocate their biggest fucking. I know it's like kind of crazy for them to think like, oh, let's take Naughty Dog from what the fuck they were just making to go make a VR game. But I think until that happens, until they get the big developers to actually invest a shit ton of time and make a game, put the money into it, I think we're always going to get these 5-10 hour experiences.
That excuse has been around though, and for ever since VR pretty much started with Oculus. And I'll tell you something else though. You do have that. You have Resident Evil Village. You have RE4 that I played. Not RE4. Was it RE4? No, RE7. I played the entire RE7 in VR. It was
really
great.
Good too. Yeah.
Yeah. You have Alex if you have an Oculus, which was supposed to be the thing that, if that was going to work, that would have at least worked a little bit. But those things come and go, and it doesn't really grow the market. So I hear what you're saying, and I think that's a logical assumption, but I think the data doesn't prove that out.
Well, this goes to your point of why you said, well, how the fuck that Sony has this, like, this would be a cool thing, let's just green light it, but no real thought. And Asa said, at least they're nice and thinking that way. But if it's not backed up by any real meaningful intent in the way Blaze is suggesting with the first parties do, then it just seems like you've basically relegated, and this thing is destined to die because, shiny thing, let's do it. And I'm surprised with Sony. They're quite
that's still
raw.
the unknown though, isn't it? We still haven't seen their intent because they won't tell us. Like, everyone is hoping that actually they do have some commitment to this device, but they haven't told us that. But they also haven't told us anything that they're doing beyond Spider-Man 2. Like, Sony have just been very quiet about what they're doing, really, beyond a few games as a service games for the next 3 or 4 years. So you never know, they might have good intentions.
Say, and I don't think, and this certainly hasn't come to fruition, but I was very excited for PSVR 2 when it was being floated out there that they were going to take some of their PS4 games like Tsushima, which is one of my favorite games, and not make it POV, not make it first person, but let you basically play it third person in VR. And so the sense of a great game is already there, but then you're able to take these great games and make the part that VR can do better than anything else, which is make it feel like you're actually in the space. So you're watching Jin Sakai ride the horse, but it's like right fucking there, and all the shit's blowing at you, and the leaves and petals and stuff. That I was hoping to see them go, okay, we're doing that with Spider-Man, we're doing that with God of War. And there are people on Steam that have taken some of the Sony releases and done a mod where you can do that. Yeah. And I haven't played them, but I hear they're incredible. So, that kind of makes sense, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. So I hope it does.
How the fuck did you bring fucking Blaze and Asa here? We talk about fucking VR.
Wasn't even our fault.
Just, people forget it just released. It's only 3 months old, man. Like, hello.
We started talking about the Portal, and it was like another one of these Sony things that it's just like, I remember, man, I sat with the head of marketing ages ago whenever the PSP was about to come out. And, mobile phones were already really starting to make headway in America. It wasn't that far long ago. And I said to her, but why would a kid want this for Christmas when they can just ask for an iPhone? And she's like, well, what do you mean? This will play Uncharted Golden Abyss. I'm like, they don't care. Look at all the other shit the phone will do. And I loved Golden Abyss, by the way. It's one of my favorite Uncharted games. I'm not mocking it. I'm just saying that, they don't always think about it, at least seemingly, they don't always think about it.
Someone told me like, oh, well, because that got brought up about the Portal, like, oh, Blaze, you got, this is the thing people like hate, but look, Sony's giving you so many options. You got earbuds, you got a handheld, you got this, you got that. But I'm like, yeah, but sometimes, like you said, Jaffe, like if they just greenlight everything, just because they thought it was a clever idea or whatever. But I just hope they're not taking away resources and and clearly funds are being taken away to make other shit when they could make a spin-off or a game or something else, another exclusive. But we'll see.
Okay, I'm hearing that the stream keeps cutting out, so we're having some technical issues. But I think we've kind of touched it. Jaffe, it's really lovely for you to join us. By the way, I'm a bit. I'm still a bit hesitant to just invite you off the cuff because there's a lot of, but still, always going to be a legend. And it's just like,
why are you hesitant? I'm worried about you because here's what I think has happened. There was Gaz before Event X, and that was the guy who didn't give a shit, who joked, who was out of his fucking
Event
mind. Something happened. I don't know what Event X is. And now it's almost like you're trying to dial back and be a little more serious. I don't like it.
Are you fucking mad?
Look at it. I don't like it. I don't know.
What I was saying is...
No, I know what you're saying. You're saying you're scared, and that's fine. But here's what
I'm going to play as rap, but you'll change your mind.
Being scared is not the problem. The problem is how you respond to being scared, Gaz. And on the next episode, we'll talk about all kinds of tools and tricks and hacks you can do to make yourself feel better when you just feel like the lights are about to go out and life's about to end. Fellas, this has been The Sauce. Don't forget, suck your own dick if you can. Hey, there you go. That's the one. That's the one we need. That's better.
No, what I meant to say was because I have a lot of respect for you. You might think, shut the fuck up, Gaz, but it's just like a lot of people are like, get Jaffe on. I was like, yeah, but to me, you'll always be someone I highly revere. So I don't want to feel like it's like a little side wank. Here you go and just pre-cum. There's
the fact that he pulls up for you on a moment's notice should tell you the level of respect and rapport you guys got.
I do, and Jaffe won't understand this, but for me, it's special every time you're here. So I'm not trying to suck you off too hard, but the point is that I respect you a lot.
I think he's already come, so.
Yeah, I've come.
Yeah, you know when I'll come when I get my fucking pipe stems. That's when I'll fucking.
I've got it here. Here I'm holding him in my hand.
Is it still sticky? Jesus Christ. All right, fellas, thank you for having me. Thanks for talking. I'm going back to Starfield, so I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Jaffe.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye. Jaffe, what
Asa, listen, I got like a third leg, but he would never suck me off as much as he just did to Jaffe. Like, wow, can I get that? Yes, I'm serious. Can you suck me off like you just did to him?
Bro!
Why is that question of me?
You know what? You're right, Asa. I should have asked him directly.
No. Jaffe's a legend, man. You gotta fucking respect.
No. Listen, I got some people hate
fucking
the guy.
got him on Twisted Metal, bro.
Listen, I got no problem with the guy at all. Some people just hate people just to hate people. He's made some of the that's my childhood. You just said.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fucking legend, man. And just a lot of people are like, just get Jaffe wants to come on. I was like, it's fucking still David Jaffe. But it was good. I did not agree with, and I'm pretty sure both me and Asa, we didn't agree with his takes on
the game being ugly. I don't understand it at all. I don't. The NPC thing, I get. I get there are some ugly looking NPCs, but that I kind of expected that a little bit, because you're not. Listen, people always compare NPCs to Sony. Get like, bro, you're not comparing 30 NPCs to fucking 1,000. It's like there's so, you know what I mean, like. Of course, they can go and individually create and craft these NPCs and make them look fucking up to par. But when you're like, the whole randomly generated thing too, I'm sure it plays a factor as well. But I think the game, is far from ugly.
I don't even think Sony would change anything. I know he's got experience, and I have to defer to his judgment and knowledge.
But the engine thing, no way.
I don't agree with that. Yeah, nope. I don't think they would. I think Sony would have fucking let it happen. Todd Howard said, "We'll do it the way we do it," and Sony would be like, "All right." They may not have liked it. Maybe internally, maybe vocally.
I mean, PlayStation greenlighted Predator, the game.
Oh, fuck. You should have mentioned that at the fucking talking about it. Fuck, that would have been a brilliant thing. Well, that would have been an amazing counter.
Well, I wasn't even thinking then.
Oh my God, that's so true. And that's such a good example, yeah, because that is a live tapping into the Sony was so desperate to get a multiplayer game that they did that. And now they'll be desperate to get an RPG that's very out of character to their staple. You could have, that was, Jaffe, come back. But yeah, no, that's a great point. Fuck. You were sucking him off as well. That's why you didn't mention it. Could have freaking destroyed his argument there. Well, not destroyed it. I'm sure he had to have a counter, but that's a good point.
Cassie said, "You're welcome for taking my point." So Cassie said it, and you didn't see, guys. You didn't read it because it wasn't a super chat. You're an asshole. See,
chat. I try. If I look
I'm just looking at it. I'm playing with
it's fucking crazy. Look, chat. Even if you don't super chat, I want to read what you do. But if I do it, I'll zero in. Some prick's gonna say something fucking rude about one of the guests, and I'm gonna laser them. That's why I tried sometimes. Not, and the ADHD is fucking
why
crazy.
Why are you stealing my word so much lately?
What is your word?
Prick.
Don't say laser. Huh?
Prick.
Fucking, you don't have exclusivity on prick. But yeah, no, it was such a good chat. Like, really is dissenting opinions, and this is what we have. This is what this podcast is all about. And for the pony thing, that's fine. We have all PlayStation and Xbox content. We do not we want that. We strive for everyone to be here. Yes, you'll get people who are salty at me for the Source videos because I fucking hurt them personally, and that's absolutely fine. But try. If you're going to insult me, that's okay, but don't insult the guests. Just my one rule. It's just everyone's rule. Don't fucking insult the guests. But you critique them, say, Jaffe, you're wrong. Nintendo, you're talking, you need to fucking chill, in my opinion. Like, you could say, Jaffe does the way he's talking about as usual. It's a bit raw, isn't it? It's just like,
he's allowed to say what he wants.
He wants to. At the same time, I don't want to fucking be a safe space and everything. We want a free discourse, but Nintendo's gets a bit too raw with the way he says it, in my opinion. But we'll get there. It's just, this is the dynamic.
I get what you're saying. You don't want to disrespect the guest. I get what you're saying, but it's not. He's not taking personal shots of like.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't go to personal, but Jaffe did take it. I mean, we're used to it, and that's the way it is. I'm happy with that coming to me, but not like we're not fucking Reforged Gaming here. How dare you ban? Give me $50,000. You're one of your pony brethren.
Listen, I don't like none of these fucking dudes. I don't fucking fuck with like half of these.
Bro, all these pricks are the reason why you shine. It's why you're here. Other than the fact that you're a lovely person, it's also because you stand out from your cohorts on the PlayStation side.
No, look, I got a lot of love for a lot of PlayStation, but that doesn't mean just, bro. I will never be that guy. I'm not following the trend. I'm not going with the wave. If I think you're a fucking idiot, you're an idiot. That's it. I don't give a fuck what side you're on. Period. I don't give a fuck.
And I see a lot of that. Like, people will still, some of the personalities that still have a presence, still have a following after all the shit they've said, how they've been murked, how they've been fucking exposed.
They got exposed, caught, and they still got a fucking following because they like PlayStation. You guys are fucking idiots for that.
I don't get that. So it gives me a piece of comfort, though. It's like, all right, fuck it. I can be a prick all I want, but as long as I align with one console, you'll be all right. But that's the world. Sorry, Blaze. I apologize in advance. My Spider-Man slander is coming hard. Only from a retaliatory purposes, you'll understand. I'm a bot, just like your opponent. We have to go do this thing, but and deep down, me and you, we love it all. And maybe we'll make a we'll collab on a video. Maybe. Oh, the Source video, that would be fucking hot. It would be so good, and I would love to do that. Everyone in chat, thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry about my battery issues. I've got 4 of these here. Can't find my charger. I came out from Gamescom. It's just badly organized.
Look at Ace is shaking his head like, what the fuck? You got one job, bro. Fucking charge your camera. You got one job, he's saying in his head.
Not even that. Plug the fucking thing in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, thank you everyone in chat. Please hit that like button and share it out. Pony or bot, just share it, because you don't get this kind of discourse everywhere else. You'll have you have pretty unique. Check out Blazer's show, but we have to do the outro time. Blazer's podcast is wild. It has tremendous value because in this landscape where everyone is being very PC and very like trying to buy the book, Blaze, Solid, Cassie, all of them, they just keep it real no matter how fucking weird the landscape, in my opinion, is. So shout out to you, Blaze. Thank you so much for coming over, man. It's always a mad show every time. I even proposed like you, Rev, do a permanent show. It'd be fucking lit, but Rev's got pretty crazy.
We're gonna listen. I don't know if he calls me tonight. I don't know. You know,
let me fucking charge these things. But yeah, if it comes tonight, I'll find my charger. I can't find it. But Blaze, tell the peoples what's happening.
Yeah, no, listen, I always appreciate the invite. You know, I can't say no to you, man. And Asa, you already know my love for you. It's more than Gaz, you know that. I don't want to hurt Gaz's feeling, but I appreciate it. I love your chat, bro. I'm so glad you're doing so well on here. Both of you guys, like, you guys had 600 fucking people here, bro. That's fucking crazy, bro. Like,
thank you.
Seriously, like, that's nuts, man. Like, that's fucking good work. And listen, man, I know you guys want to pick on me because I'm a PlayStation guy, but listen, I play everything. I want to make that clear, and I hope all you guys enjoy it's a long weekend, at least here in America. I hope you guys enjoy your long weekend, play your games. You know what I mean? But I'll see you guys soon, either here or on my show. Solid Cast, 9 p.m. Saturdays. When I feel like doing it, I'll let you know.
Exactly. Please do it more consistently. But yeah, no, everyone wants a little bit of the Blaze action as always. And thank you again. Like, so much synergy you can't fake it. So thank you, bruh. Asa, is there anything you want to say to the lovely 400 plus people still here?
Yeah, real quick. So I'll still be on my channel having disaster runs of various games, trying to salvage my Starfield, trying to salvage Baldur's Gate. I'm probably somehow gonna fuck up Immortals of Aveum as well, and that game's linear as it can be, but I'll manage because chaos is kind of what I do. Obviously David, Jaffe was here, Gene was here for ages. Thanks to both of them. I don't know if they're gonna ever see this, but great to have them both on the show. And Blaze was here. Gaz obviously runs late every time, but Blaze was here before we started, so he's getting on for like 4 hours now. So obviously, Blaze, thanks for your time. Everybody, please do check out his channel, give him your support as well. Very sincere, genuine guy. So, and thank you everyone that's come through chat. It's been brilliant to have you all here.
Absolutely, Chad. Thank you so much. It's probably one of our longest shows. We're going over to almost 4 hours now. But it's going to be a saucy week. I'm going to put more content out. I'm setting up Septic Sauce as well. So you have my just console warring bullshit solo streams. So just fucking murk some of the people that me and Blaze absolutely despise. Got a Starfield review coming out hopefully tomorrow. I'm spending all day on it. And also a Septic Sauce quick video. By the way, just want to explain my trajectory and tell me, chat, if you think this is wrong. Source videos take a lot of time. I feel like it should be a collage, like the last Source video, of all the shit takes and all the console warring in a lengthy video. Whereas Septic Sauce, I can hit every week, like Fitanga and Oh No, It's Alex. That way I can grow a little bit. You guys get on the tap news, like salt mining happening, more frequent updates. If you think that's okay, let me know in the chat if you want to do that. I want to do a solo stream a week, one video of salt a week, unless it's really dead news. And then the Source videos, well, I want a little event that you guys get to see.
When do you do those salt videos? When do you go live and do that? What day is that? Or is that just
that's what I need to determine. So when I'm going to go live, and when the Salt videos will come out once a week. I was thinking of calling it Fanboy Fridays, which I'm kind of giving away the idea, but it's like do it every Friday. But beautiful. I need to figure out. But yeah, if you like that, let me know. Yes, and someone always said, "Oh, I don't like your singing; it's cringe." I'm gonna keep fucking singing it. I just love doing it. The rap. I thought
it's
was
me.
good.
I'm the one that tells him it's cringe.
I'm gonna keep fucking. You liked it.
No, I did like it too.
Yeah,
I actually did like it. It was good.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm gonna go hard on that. But yeah, shout out to everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate every single one of you coming on here. It's really just great. I thoroughly enjoy these Saturdays. And we'll hope to see you soon. Please like, share, subscribe, and take care.
Gotcha.